Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:09 p.m. For the regular council meeting of December 2nd, and welcome everyone in chamber and online. Councillor Scarf, I'd like to ask you to deliver the land acknowledgement, please.
The town of Smoky Lake respectfully acknowledges that we are situated on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional lands of First Nations and Métis people.
Thank you. And just a little bit of housekeeping. If we can refrain from using our cell phones at this time, and anyone is eligible to call a recess amongst council. If admin needs a little break, just notify us, and we want to be mindful of everyone's time. And in terms of governance, we're going to go clockwise tonight. And so you put the motion, when called upon, you put the motion on the floor. You can introduce it, say your opening remarks, it goes around the room, and the person that gives the motion will be the person that speaks finally on it. And then I'll call the question as the chair, and we will vote. And if need be, just that equals shared floor space. Everyone's feeling heard and can present on their thoughts and feelings about it. And if there's something that's concerning and you'd like to have an extra time and I'm just looking at you, but okay, I'm looking ahead. If you feel the need to speak again, just being mindful of everyone. So how does that sound? We'll try it. If you don't like that style of governance, we'll try something different the next time.
So if we want to speak more on something we're not understanding, we just say we'd like to, what would you like us to say?
Usually a good idea is through the chair and just to clarify, or if it's going to admin, just to give that kind of heads up. Oh, is that okay? Yeah. And so in terms of anyone can call a recess, anyone can pass. If you don't feel comfortable with the motion and it's your turn in clockwise, just say pass. It's like I don't know, poker or blackjack, whatever that game is, right? Okay. So you pass and then it goes to the next person. How does that sound?
Yeah, well, kind of, yeah.
We'll try it, and then it's very efficient for time, and
As long as I don't bluff.
no bluffing allowed. Okay, so Councillor Churn, we're going to look at adopting the agenda, but first, before we call the motion on that, is there any additions or deletions to the agenda at this time? Administration, go ahead, Molly.
Well, can we add IT discussion?
Okay, where would you like to put that?
Last minute discussions or additions.
13.1.
13.1, IT, is it just called?
IT discussion.
IT discussion, okay. And anything else? Administration? Any additions? Council? Any additions? I'd like to add 3 things. And we'll see how our time goes, but under 13.2, I'd like to do a town tour debrief. We just completed our tour, a couple thoughts going forward, and then it might come back, but we'll have a short discussion and see how we proceed from there, if council will indulge me for that. 14.2, I'd like to do a new council check-in. I might be a little remiss. Maybe we should have done that at the first meeting, but no time like the present, just a little check-in. I've had a chance to, I'll expound on that when we get there. 14.3 will be personnel, and we'll get the ATAIs from Carly as we'll go into closed session for personnel, which I believe is section 29. Nope.
20, I think.
29?
20.
20. Okay, yes, yeah, I was wrong. Okay, so I was bluffing. Kidding, it's section 20. Okay. So Councillor Churn with the 4 amendments, 13.1, 13.2, 14.2, 14.3, would you make a motion to accept the agenda with amendments?
I make the motion to accept the agenda with the changes, with the amendments.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Calling the question, all in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. We're moving on to 3.2. So it's the regular council meeting from November 18th. The minutes as presented to us. Councillor Rosachuk. The motion could be or should be to accept or adopt the minutes from the November 18th, 2025 regular council meeting as presented. Do you feel comfortable making that motion? Okay. Thank you. That is the motion. Any discussion about the minutes? Were there any edits or changes or points of clarification?
I just wanted to say that I think the minutes were done really well.
Thank
So,
you.
Great job, Carly.
Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for sharing that. Calling the question, all in favor of the motion? The motion is carried. Thank you. Counselor Scarf. 3.2. Do you feel comfortable making the motion to either adopt or accept as presented? No.
Yes.
The action list? Okay, so November, so the motion is that,
I would like to accept the minutes from our November 18th regular council meeting.
sure, 3.2, the action list, right?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Any discussion? Okay, adding to the discussion, motion 849. It's in progress on the action list. And that was, I'd like point of clarity, when would council receive the information? I checked the 2 budget meeting agendas that have come up this afternoon. Nothing is noted on there. I think it's important that council is just asking for the detailed report predetermined in the $26,000. When can we receive that information?
So Madam Chair, we are still waiting for invoices to come in if we're wanting an up-to-date statement as to where we are. In terms of the details that went behind the 26,000.
Yeah.
I will hand that over to Crystal. She has confirmed that there wasn't any specific breakdown in that GL related to individual items, but I'll let her speak to that.
Yeah, so a portion of that was for the election costs.
So, and if I may interrupt you, I'm not trying to put you on the spot or to get the detailed report at this time. I'm just looking at when in the future would we be discussing this? When would that motion come back?
So it just depends on the exact details you're wanting to have brought back. So if it's an up-to-date statement of financially where we sit within that budgeted amount, we can bring that forward to
So for understanding,
December 16th.
okay, so for understanding,
Can I ask them?
give me one sec. So for understanding, let's read back the motion and then we'll see if there's anything that's not quite clear, because I'm not sure what the delay is. It was supposed to come back to the November 24th meeting and it was missed or not actioned. So we're in progress, we're waiting for bills, but that's not what the motion says. And then once we get clarification of the motion, I'll go to you, Councillor Kodlak. So who's gonna read the motion out loud? Motion number 849.
You're gonna allow me to speak to it? Did I raise my hand? It says.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, just give a itemized list of what costs were per item on the breakdown of that motion, and that should be fine.
Right, so that's a different thing than what the motion is. And what I wanted to give as an update to the motion is that there is no individualized breakdown that was budgeted.
Well, no, I'll put it at $26,000. What did you spend the money on?
Okay, and then,
okay.
Did you spend this much on this much on this? So this way it actually gives a insight, so that perhaps the next election that comes up, Lisa gives what do you call it? The upcoming council roughly knows how much you got, or administration, how much do you have to put away for the next.
The budget board.
Yeah, so before I'm just gonna speak to that. Thank you for that. So the motion, I'm just gonna read the motion out and then we're gonna discuss the motion. All we're looking for right now is that it's not lost, it's in progress. When would it be coming back to us with further clarity and which time we can ask a million questions? Okay, so the motion 849, it's on page 8 of 149. It reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Kodlak, that the town of Smoky Lake defer the report on council onboarding and election to November 24th, 2025 preliminary budget regular council, and to include a detailed line-by-line budget for the allotted $26,000. Just so basically what it's saying is $26,000 was allotted. Yes, some of it's for the onboarding, some of it's for the election. Give us a breakdown. Did it include photography? Did it include jackets? Did it include, what did it include? We just want some direction as to where we're spending that money. And it's not so much what's earmarked or what's left, it's what was earmarked for. Okay, so could we get that to come back to tomorrow's budget meeting?
so we're trying to communicate that. Okay, I think if we left this for December 16th, we can adjust, there's two parts to that, we can adjust both parts on December 16th. Because we still have invoices rolling in, and
Okay,
we've asked, but we can put a push on.
okay, so I'm going to push back a little bit on that. That's not where we're going with this, because coming up in IT, I believe, Counselor Kulak will be speaking to a certain IT device, and we just kind of want to know where we stand in the 26,000 that was pre-motioned of previous council. Just a breakdown. How much was for election? How much was for council orientation or onboarding? So we're going to put that later on in the agenda. I don't want to take any more time. It's just a simple ask of when it can come back. And if it's not coming back this meeting, it will be coming back next meeting because I will add it to the agenda. How's that?
Do you want me to speak to it right now?
Sure, if that makes us get
Yes.
farther ahead.
So currently spent for the election to date is $9,725.01.
Okay, so, and thank you, Molly, for that. I don't mean to be abrupt. I'm just saying, we don't have to deal with it under the action list. The request to administration right now is when will it be coming back to us? We'd like a breakdown, or you did a wonderful job to date for the previous meeting.
Yeah, I had answered that. December 16th is when we can have the full picture with invoices to date. 26,000 was a lump sum. It was not broken down. That's all I can provide on what was budgeted.
So hang on a sec, hang on. So the motion was for November 24th, right? So we're looking at the same motion.
Yeah, I had sent you an email on that as to why we needed, we wanted to bring back the full picture with all the invoices to date.
So I'm gonna let it go. It might come back tomorrow. We'll see how the rest of council feels after some of the issues later on in the meeting will be addressed. And it's a point of clarity. We just want to have some basic understanding. I didn't think it was that complex, and I hope I didn't offend anybody with what was being asked.
I'd like to speak to this.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
what I'm hearing, okay, is that there was a lump sum that nobody had designated exactly what this lump sum needed to be spent on. They're saying that they spent 9,000, let's say 10,000, let's round up to 10,000 so far. I need clarification because I'm not understanding you. Do you want them to just say what we've spent on so far tomorrow? Because they can provide that. But it sounds like administration saying we need until the 16th because we'll have some invoices back and we need some time. So I'm not seeing where the disconnect is here.
Yeah, so
I'll be okay with that. If they need the extra time. But have the numbers for the 16th and.
They give the numbers today, but what I'm saying is there's
Yeah.
still invoices rolling
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
So I
that's
think
fine.
you want the full picture.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but you would have got quotes on stuff though too, right? Or not?
So the 26,000 was number approved by previous council that allocated a lump sum to election and orientation. There was no breakdown as to what that.
Mhm.
So that is all the information we have. If that's what we're bringing back, that's all we have.
Okay,
We can give to date in terms of actual expenses, December 16th, when we will have all invoices in. That,
Yeah.
I have the numbers here to date, but it's not gonna include everything that's still growing.
Yeah, I just
That's
wanted to
fair.
clarify some, I would like to see that because I wanted to see what some of these facilitators charge.
okay, so to move along, thank you for that. So to move along, the intention was to have an understanding. We were spending money to maybe to confirm for understanding for Councilor Spark. We have spent some money on laptops, some training. There was the talk about photography, professional photography, jackets. Are those budgeted items? And just to move forward with clear transparency, are we spending money that was already pre-approved by previous council? No one, I would say at this point, in all fairness to everyone, no one has that basic understanding right now. We're being told it was a lump sum. So again, I respect administration. Thank you. The motion is in work in progress. We will wait then till the December 16th and we'll get a printout. How is that?
That's fair.
Is that your motion?
No, I don't need to make a
You don't have to
motion.
make a motion?
We have a motion on the floor about accepting the action list. I was just flagging it, that it's a work in progress. It's past the due date of the motion. Maybe an understanding on my part that I didn't answer an email to CAO Fighton, but we're all on the same page now, on the same book, okay? Coming back December 16th, okay? Motion on the floor is to accept the action list. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you for everyone's work and patience. Moving on to 3.3, November 24th, 2025, regular council meeting minutes
I move.
to accept as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, calling the question, all in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. I'd like to move that the Town of Smoky Lake accept the November 24th regular council action list, 2026 preliminary operation and capital budget discussions as presented. Discussion, all in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you and welcome. We're on to the 6.1, the CAO report. So at this time, I just want to take a little temperature in the room. We have some staff joining us after hours. Everyone's after hours. So I was wondering if there was an appetite of this council to move forward to the presentation 6.2. And that way, Rochelle and Sukhan could present if Molly would be okay with that. And then if we were to also consider the 14.1 closed session for our maybe our development officer, and then she can present and
Oh,
if
accept
that is that okay with everyone? Checking in with admin. Okay. Okay, so thank you. Thank you. We're all in agreement. I got the nod. Okay, Tegan?
Yes.
Okay, welcome Rochelle and welcome to the panel. Okay, thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much for having us this evening. So I'm Rochelle Amiot, I'm CSS Director, and this is.
Sukhan Bajaj, newcomer navigator.
And
Who's that?
Sukhan Bajaj,
And what was the next one?
the newcomer navigator.
Oh, okay.
yes, and we'll jump into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So what I was just gonna take a few minutes before we jump a little bit more into the Newcomer Navigator program and give you a little bit more of an understanding of what his role is and what he's been focused on. Was just giving you a high level overview of how we work under the FCSS department and with our board. So this was actually a presentation that I had taken our board through at our organizational meeting in November. So our purpose, and I think all of you know that we are a department of the municipality, and really our focus is on prevention. So programs, support services, across all of our funding streams, we focus on prevention. We know within our sector that it is very widely stated and proven out that $1 in prevention equals $4 in savings downstream on systems such as healthcare, legal, and support services. With that, the three primary funding streams that we have is FCSS, our Family Resource Network, and SILT, which is our newcomer program. Across these three funding streams, we're coming in at just under $250,000 a year, which you guys will discuss more in the operational budget, so we don't need to get into detail, but just to give you guys the high level, we're at about $250,000 a year. And I say primary funding streams because we also are consistently looking for other funding. So whether that be 20 grand on a New Horizons for a seniors program or a Canada Day grant to help offset some of the cost of Canada Day. These are a primary, but we also bring in additional income on top of that. And the other thing that I will just preface, because I think this might be something that we want to discuss in the new year, is that many communities, you will see this department called Community Services versus just FCSS. Because you start to acquire all these different funding streams, and it can be confusing for people when you look at this chart, where they're like, oh, you're FCSS, but you're actually FRN, or you're FCSS, but you actually manage SILP, right? So a lot of communities are now moving towards having community services department and then the funding streams within that. So that's something that we could discuss in the future. And then, of course, this just was to show the board where we actually fit within the town structure. So the advisory board, we meet with once a month, and then they give us input, but I report directly to the CAO. And so, and then the funding streams are under that umbrella. So for the three core funding streams, and I know that I touched on this with all of you in the last, so I don't want to overly repeat, so I'll go quick, but let me know if there's any questions. But FCSS, so FCSS has been around since 1989 in Smoky Lake. So it's quite amazing to know how many years it's actually been in operation in the municipality. It is 80% provincially funded and 20% municipal contribution. So that means we get 35,000 from the province And then the municipality contributes on top the 20%, and actually the town of Smoky Lake over contributes, which Mary Ann had highlighted in our last meeting as well. For FCSS, right now we go on a 3-year funding agreement, and we are in the process of signing our agreement for the next 3 years. So every year it renews, and then every 3 years you get a new funding agreement. What this looks like in Smoky Lake, we really use FCSS dollars to focus on seniors programming, as well as community supports like that individual one-on-one supports that I was talking about earlier, as well as volunteerism and community events.
I just wanted to ask a question, so with your program, you try to support the best for the community within Smoky Lake. You don't segregate anybody else out of the program. If there's somebody from rural area, you still entertain them and you still help them out.
100%.
Additional programs for filling out forms or whatever
100%.
needs that you have.
So I can tell you that like we track what we can, like, I mean, this is directional because not everybody fills out a survey when they come to our events, but we try to get data where we can. And about 55 to 60% of the participants at our community events are coming from outside of the town. So whether that be the villages or whether that be the county. And then when I look at the individual support when I'm working one-on-one, it's about 45% coming from outside of the town. So very meaningful data when we're discussing
Well, that's great information to use,
regionalization and
perhaps to use towards our neighbors, county. Maybe that he can help out a little bit in our program here.
absolutely. And I think that's where, again, in February, when we have these discussions at ICC, I think that it's going to be either we look at regionalizing and what that will look like, which would be the preference, because I actually think that that would expand the impact that we have and what services we're able to provide across the region. And a lot of the challenges that we face across the region are similar. However, if that's not the case, then it would be some kind of chargeback where we're looking at saying, okay, well, is it municipal tax dollars that are going to help fund what we're doing for the county, right? And these are some of the conversations that we'll have to have. My preference would be regionalizing, but I think we know that there could be a different model where we charge back at the end of the year a certain percentage of. So those are some of the discussions that I think will rev up when we get into the ICC conversations.
Okay.
So Family Resource Network, we're currently in the 6th year of the Family Resource Network, and this one is 100% provincially funded, so we get $70,000 a year, no municipal match. And this is also a 3-year funding agreement. FCSS operates from January 1st to December 31st from a fiscal standpoint, and then Family Resource Network goes April 1st to March 31st. So it is a little bit like, it's just something to keep in mind when we're doing our reporting. And then as well, right now, we are in the process of being told that we have to reapply for an FRN grant, which is different. It's not the same as FCSS where you're just re-signing the 3-year. This is like a reapplication. We have yet to find out from the province any of those details, and people are getting very antsy. This impacts our programming, it impacts our strategic plans, and it impacts our staff. I have 2 part-time programmers, Natalia, you guys met, and then Susanna Eldridge as well, that are funded through our FRN. So there is a lot of urgency around what the province is educating us on around FRN, but I will definitely keep you guys updated across that. What our Family Resource Network focuses on is supporting families, children 0 to 18 years of age. So the reason we use a lot of our FCSS dollars for community and seniors is because that doesn't fit this mandate. And then we do all of our children and family programming through our Family Resource Network grant because that fits that mandate. One thing to note on Family Resource Network is that grant was already set up to be regional versus FCSS is town only. Family Resource Network already had a lens of regional. So one of our more recent pilots, I would say, is partnering with the Vilna Library and doing some children programming there. So that's just, we've just done a couple weeks and that will run till the end of March. And then that will also give us some compelling data when it comes to talking about regionalization and the need. Early uptake is like, we're already seeing 10 kids per program, which
I
is
heard about it at the
high,
school.
which is actually high.
Really good things I heard.
So, yeah. So lots of great work being done, and this is really what operates our youth council. And our youth council has been in operation for 4 years and continues to be really, really steady and a great opportunity for children to hone their leadership skills. And then lastly is SILP. So that's Settlement Integration and Language Project Grant. So we call it SILP because it is a mouthful. But SILP is our most recent funding stream that we acquired, and it is once again 100% grant funded. It's $110,000 a year, so $210,000 over the course of 2 years is what we were able to bring in, and that enabled us to hire a full-time staff to focus on that programming, which was an amazing accomplishment. That grant is actually oversubscribed, so other communities were jealous that we were able to secure that one. So this grant is in place until March 31st of 2027, and I am gonna let Suk deep dive into a little bit more of the work that he's doing, so I won't focus on that here. This one also runs in the same cycle for fiscal year, April 1st to March 31st as FRM. So, our board, I'm trying to go quick, I know I'm talking
No, you're
fast, but I know that we don't have a ton of time, so if I'm going too fast, stop me. So our board, and again, this presentation was designed for the board, but this is just to give a highlight as to how we operate and really get fueled by our board. So our board is an advisory board, so there's a difference between, as you guys know, advisory and governance. So governance is where they're hiring and firing and making motions on financials. Advisory board is really where they play a strategic and advisory role. So we have 9 members on our board, and it is diverse. There's a couple county, the majority from the town, but diverse representation across our community members, and that really allows us to bring different programs and ideas to the table and really hone that community experience and integrate their feedback into how we deliver our programs. So staffing, budgeting, day-to-day program delivery are managed through the town administration and FCSS staff. But we meet with our board members 8 times a year, so once a month, and then we take Christmas and 2 months off during the summer, and work with them that way. Across the last year and a half, we've done a lot of fundamental work with the board, and that is really, it was led by the community unit development team through the government of Alberta. They do free work for us, and so we got a facilitator to come in and work with our board to really develop our vision, mission, and values, which fuels kind of the foundation of how we operate and make decisions. And then from there, we expanded on what our 3 to 5 year goals are. I will just say that one of the key areas of focus that I have a lot of passion around is operational excellence. So doing a lot around how do we capture correct data? How do we ensure that we have databases that we are able to report clearly for, that helps us get further funding. It also helps us measure outcomes. And so as a team, we've spent a lot of our time focused on how do we really create the right processes so that we can capture that. For our 2025-2026 primary goals, so some of you may have seen this, but this was a great accomplishment. We were able to launch Meals on Wheels in partnership with the Blackberry Eatery. And so that went live in September. So September, October, November. So we just finished 3 months of this program. This is a program where we have a New Horizons grant that's feeding that program, enabling us to subsidize. So meals are typically $15.75. And then we subsidize down to $10.75. So we're giving each client $5 subsidy per meal. But with that, we can only take on 20 clients. And we are at 20 clients right now. So that is great. But also why we've now gone after one of those Healthy Aging Alberta grants. Those were the 3 streams I had talked about last time. And if we get that, we would be able to expand how many clients we're actually able to bring into the program.
Do you have a waiting list of clients? Or you're just kind of hovering neutral?
We're just hovering right now, so it doesn't feel like that yet. But we also would tell clients, you can still use the program, we just can't subsidize you.
Yeah.
And we're also monitoring if somebody signs up for the program and then they haven't made an order in 4 weeks, then we're touching base with them. Like obviously vacation, sick time, like if they've let us know, but if somebody just stops ordering, then we have a follow-up process embedded so that we can ensure like, hey, we're going to remove you from the program so that we can take somebody else in.
And thank you for that. So when you say 20 clients, what is the frequency? And so is that based on like a monthly total of how many meals are going out?
So, on average, so they can order only 3 times right now a week. So we only deliver on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. And on average, most of the clients, like we're probably delivering 15 meals a day, like per Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So not all clients, they can order a week ahead, they can order a month, like they can do either option. So there's a lot of flexibility baked into that program. But I would say some of them come in and out, like some will order 1 week and not order the next. So on average, about 15 meals a day you're going out.
Okay, thank you for that. And then, so the delivery, and that is facilitated by the restaurant or the FCSS?
Facilitated by the restaurant. And that pricing includes delivery.
So it'll all be in town.
It is in town only. We have 2 clients, they are not subsidized though, when I speak about this, that are from the county. So we enable them to follow the same process, but they have to drive in and pick it up.
Yeah.
So we don't deliver right now. It is something that county people are calling us, and we have asked both the eatery as well as our team to track how many people are calling in from the county. Because I do feel, again, when we go back to regionalization, this is another data point that would be important for the county to understand, is that this is a very wanted service in the county.
So you say you have 3 meal days per week.
Mhm.
Do these people pick up extra meals? Let's say if they pick up on Tuesday, they pick up a Tuesday and a Wednesday meal, and then the next time they'll pick up another 2, or just 1 meal per day?
They can do that, so it depends on preference. Some of them are ordering more than one, like some will have 2 or 3 meals in one day, like ordered, so that they can freeze some or like stretch them out. But the majority right now are just going for the 3, for the single. That being said, this was phase 1. And so phase 2 is if we got extra funding or we speak to the clients now that they've been on for 3 months, we will revisit in the new year and try to see if we expand it to 5 days, is there an appetite for that? There's also opportunity to like add on, salads and soups and things like that. Right now, it's just the meal itself. So there's opportunity to expand and grow what we've already established. But right now
But funding is the big
but
question.
funding is always a game changer when it comes to that type of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Complete a social needs assessment. This one I find is something that we talk about a lot. Social needs assessments are basically just doing a really in-depth survey on the community and getting a really good read. And it doesn't just cover FCSS, like it'll cover, do you feel safe in your community? It'll cover affordable housing, like it's a gamut, right? And FCSS can glean some information from that, but usually social needs assessments or community assessments are like useful for not just FCSS. Starting in 2027, they will actually start to measure how many FCSSs are using community social needs assessments to drive their strategy. And so this is something that we've been wanting to do. I have yet to find funding to secure this. So I continue to put a lot of passion around this one, and we'll definitely keep you guys updated if we find something to be able to fund that. But that would be, I think, very meaningful data for us.
Michelle, if I may, how much would a social needs assessment cost in a ballpark?
Yeah, so the last quote I received was through the Rural Development Network. That would have been in March of this year, and it was for 45,000. Now, there's different consultants you can get up or down from that, but I would say probably the cheapest you'd be looking at is like 35,000, and then it can go up. They can add on to that.
how do you encourage people to fill this out?
Yeah,
If
so
you're paying
that's
a
where like
huge
the
amount, but then you
consultants,
don't get it back.
right, the consultants, like when you pay that kind of price, like they'll literally like SWAT the community, like some of them will like stand on corners and like give, or they'll come to events, like they'll do different ways, they can do some individual interviewing as well, like they'll come in with a plethora of tools to say, how do we get the biggest bang for our buck and the best response rate. There are other communities that do this grassroots. So Banff is an example, and they shared their approach with our board, but it is bandwidth and it is like scale from Peter to pay Paul. When I did the math of what they actually paid their staff to do, it was equivalent, but they have a much bigger team. So it just like you're gonna pay that type of money, whether you're putting the hours in from the staff doing it on the ground, or if you have a consultant come in and do it as well. So and then last, I mean, everybody knows that mental health and mental well-being continues to be an increasing need across all demographics. And so we continue to look for opportunities to really support mental health. We actually have one of our board members was recently graduated counselor. And we have no in-person counselors outside of within the school in town. So hopefully with that, we're able to create some additional programming around that. And I would love to see many communities do subsidized modeling for that as well. And that's something that we would like to look at if we can find funding. And so that was quick fire. But yeah, so this is what I took, we went over as a board. Our board does, instead of an AGM, we do an organizational meeting in November of every year. And so we were able to welcome in some new board members. And so this is just a list of who is on our board. So Tegan and Nestor, you're on there as well. And then if there's no other questions before we move on, then I'm going to pass it over to Stefan and let him jump into the newcomer program.
So, good evening, everyone. For people who, mostly people know me in this field, but for people who don't know me, my name is Sukun Bajaj, and I'm the newcomer navigation facilitator for the Thomas Monkey Lake. I started the job around 6 months ago, and since then, I have with my job comes with 3 pillars. So the first is business, the second is partnerships, and the third one is community engagement. So today I'm here to share a bit about the things I have done and the things we are focusing on. So in the past 3 months, I have done around 8 surveys, connected with 8 businesses to see what challenges are they having or what opportunities are they getting in terms of hiring new people and hiring newcomers, and how can we help them to enhance the whole process with them. And I'm also working on speaking with the Tremels, the tree nursery, as they have a huge number of immigrants coming to the town and working for them. So in maybe I'm trying to see what dates would work for the best for both of us, as they had a busy season with them. And with that, we are also focusing on doing different workshops with the help of surveys I did. So it has also helped us to focus on the targeted workshops, which will also be planned very soon. And coming up to the partnerships. So I have done a few interagency meetings in the past, and which have been very helpful to meet new people and make new connections. And the next new step that we are working on is a community helpers program that I am partnershiping with FRN, that my co-worker Susanna. The main focus is to help the newcomers and the people who have been living here since a long time to make a better connection between so that they can learn from each other, new things and old things. And yes.
And he's also meeting with Community Learning Council. So we're going to discuss a few opportunities that we have with the English as a second language, as well as sports for newcomers, all those things.
So the third pillar is the community engagement. So the main focus is to bring people together. And with that, we did, the team and I, we did a cultural festival on the August 30th of this year. And we had shy of around 200 people. So it was, I would say, a great success. And a major milestone that we just hit yesterday is planning a welcome wagon for the newcomers of the town. And so the newcomer wagon will have different coupons, a letter from mayor, and a few more things that we have in this bag. Please feel free to have a look. It's right here. And so it also has a QR code that takes straight to the town website. And so this is all the update I have for today. And I would like to thank you all for having me here. Please, any questions, suggestions, and ideas?
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I think we so appreciate the work you're doing. You're selling yourself short because you were recently a speaker at the Alberta Power Up Conference in St. Paul. And so you're bringing attention to Smoky Lake and to the program that you're working with. I think on behalf of all of council, we're very grateful that you took time, Rochelle and yourself, to come tonight. If I was to ask you a question on behalf of council, how can we better support your programs? What can council do in terms of, it might not always be funding, but it could be something that offers support and working collaboratively. What are their plans? Maybe there's some programs specific to how council can move things forward.
Push regionalization.
That's one. That's definitely
I
one.
think that's everywhere. That's everything that we deal with now.
No, but it's good that you're serving the broad area rather than just focusing on smoking. So, I mean, right now, regionalization is, yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. We're seeing that more and more common. Our neighbors, St. Paul and the St. Paul County, like they just regionalized about 2 years ago and went through that. So I definitely think that advocating for regionalization is one avenue. I also will just put a plug in. I know you guys all came for the Lions Club, but I think transportation, I know FCSS regionalization is a conversation, but there's also transportation as a standalone challenge in our region and for seniors specifically. And I think we have a grant out there with the Lions Club to get a minivan. We've now applied for a healthy aging stream to potentially be able to hire somebody, but I think that when we get into those ICC conversations, transportation will be a conversation tied to FCSS regionalization, but also almost as a standalone in regards to what do we need to do.
You're talking about the grant for the minivan. Is it like just like one with wheelchair access plus whatever, so you can get them to the dentist, get them to the pharmacy, blah, blah, blah?
You got it.
It's
So
a big-
the action bus is great, and thank
Yeah.
you to the trend checks, right?
Yeah.
But we also know it's expensive to operate and they can't do individual. And so the minivan would just be a minivan, wheelchair
Exactly.
outfitted, that anybody doesn't need a special license to drive. So I guess those two are kind of key pillars.
Yeah.
And then, I think just helping us promote the programs and understanding the programs, understanding what Secon's role is, because it is a little bit like a black hole, people don't really understand all the time. So I think the closer council can get to the work and understanding how we operate, then the easier it is to help explain. Also that we do not put a lot of pressure on tax dollars. And I think sometimes, I made the mistake of posting when we hired Secon and not clarifying on Facebook saying, this is 100% grant funded. And then people were like, stop hiring. So just being aware that these are incremental opportunities that we're bringing funding in. If we were to close Healthy Aging Alberta, we would bring in $500,000 without even having to put any pressure on the municipality. So I think just knowing those things and helping us educate community members is always a good thing.
Seems like the harder you work, the more clients you get, the more funding you should be able to receive too. So I mean, if you're showing progress, obviously the funding should follow you.
100%, and regionalizing would
Yeah.
because there's power in numbers.
But by partnering with the Wilma Library, that's great too, because you got exposure in the east.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Go ahead, Tegan.
I just wanted to say, I just think we all would agree that you guys are doing an awesome job. It sounds like you really are, and everything I hear in the community is positive. But I just, I might get like a little emotional. That welcome,
I remember you told us.
so I'm an immigrant, and when we first moved to this town, it was very jarring. And we had a welcome wagon at the time. And it just helped us as a family connect to the community, connect to the businesses. So I just think that's such a brilliant idea, connecting it with the QR code to the town. I just like so support everything that you guys are doing and everything that you're doing. And I know that we have so many amazing immigrants here who could definitely, I love what you said, teach us a lot. And we could learn from them and vice versa. But yeah, I just wanted to say, I just think you're doing an awesome job and I'm happy that you're here. I don't cry.
Thank you for sharing that, Tegan. So yeah, looking at from a council point of view, we touched on one last question. We touched on the third pillar, community inclusion and engagement, taking down some of the stigma and making an inclusive and very diverse community. I'm not sure if a program could be something like Smoky Lake was voted as one of the friendliest towns in Alberta. If it could include some sort of signage as you're leaving or coming back into town, something that makes and embraces that actual thought. If that's something in the future we can looking at working together. So every intersection welcomes people and thanks them for being in Smoky Lake as part of the program, something to think about. And if there is some funding or some opportunity to collaborate, I know council and admin supports the work that you're doing. So thank you.
One last thing, sorry. Because we have a lot of people who reach out to us who are moving here for our rental properties, my husband and I specifically. How do we access this for how do we know if we have somebody moving in new, how do we let you know that they would use could use a
So
wagon?
for the people who say are moving to the places, say if they're coming for their own utilities and everything, so they need to come to the town, and we have provided town with small vouchers. And it has all the information they need for the welcome package. So it has the address for the FCS's FCS's office. So they can come to us and we can help them with the welcome. We have everything ready over there.
And even
Some
if
of
they're
my
not
rentals are
having
like
utilities,
deep
like just send them to
Yeah.
the
So you
town.
can send.
Okay.
And we just launched it on Facebook, so that information
Okay.
will be out there now, and we'll add it like onto, we're looking right now to add onto the town of Smoky Lake, are you new? And then having
Yeah.
some key links
Okay.
and some information there. But the main thing is we're sending people for the most part to the town, and then they get this little coupon.
And then they come.
And then they come and they meet us.
Nice.
We do the same thing, just as an FYI for new babies, so we've worked with Carly at AHS. And she hands these little coupons out, and then if they have a new baby, they come and see us and they get this little baby bundle, so, yeah.
A ton of them coming this year here.
I know, there's a lot, obviously.
They're in the pharmacy.
Can't blame COVID anymore.
But I love the idea of
And
Smoky Lake being like welcoming and really playing off of that, so.
highlighting the grant and the roles that we play. And if you give me permission, if I could tie that back to Carly, with your permission. If anyone in the room doesn't know, Carly is Nestor's daughter, the public health nurse, and so maybe Suhan does not know that. So working together, yeah, thank you. Small world, small community. So
Small community, we all.
Yes,
we all-
yes.
we're all connected, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Thank you so
again.
much for your
Thank you for your
time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And so we're going to go back to the agenda, and on page 30 of 149, we have a motion based on the recommendation that we're going to.
I'll make it. I'm sorry here.
Sure. Go ahead, Councillor Scar.
I'd like to make the motion that the town of Smoky Lake accept for information the presentation regarding the newcomer navigation facility program presented by Sukan Bajaj and Rochelle Amiati, Town of Smoky Lake Family and Community Support Services.
Yes.
Did I say those last names okay?
Oh, it's.
What is it?
It's that guy.
Amiati.
Yeah, but it's not the person.
It's, very touching. That brings everybody,
Yes.
down. This is what we got. Everybody.
So we do have a really
This
great.
was years, this was years ago and it's still very, very, oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like it does. The program that flourishes with age.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion on the motion? All in the question, all in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. And thank you for joining us this evening. We're about to go into closed session, so if you'd like to
Yes.
head out, you're most welcome to do so. Thank
Thank you
you.
for your time.
Oh, thank you. So
Thanks.
if it's okay and admin is prepared and everything, or?
Rush, or do you wanna switch?
Yeah,
we'll just be down.
Okay, Dawn can also go over here. I don't wanna.
Oh, sorry.
It's a hard school item now.
Yeah, is that okay with admin?
I was just double checking.
So do we want, is John presenting later in the agenda that?
Yeah.
Can you him up as well?
He is. He said he's okay.
Let's move him up.
Yeah, we
Poor
can
guy.
move him.
They
Yeah, you
Yeah.
had a long day with the tour and everything, so who wants to get moved up first?
Ladies first.
John-
Ladies first.
So John, which number are you, John?
Just the snow and ice.
Oh, yeah, we can jump around. Is that harsh for you, Carly, or? Okay, so, right now we're gonna do 14.1 and then going to go to John after. Is that okay with everyone? Thank you, John. So I'm going to have a motion to go into closed session. I'm going to on the floor, and it's 14.1 Harvest Gold Drive update. So Councilor Kulak, are you okay to make the motion that Smoky Lake, Town of Smoky Lake go into closed session to discuss the following matter pursuant to the access to information, ATIA section 29, advice from officials at 7:01 PM.
Yes, I'll move.
Okay, all in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Yeah, that's.
So, motions to come out of closed session at 7:28.
I'll move.
Councillor Kudlak has the motion. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. Do we need to open up the door in case anyone is coming with us? Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that, Town of Smoky Lake Council direct administration to bring back information discussed in closed session for the Harvest Gold Drive update to a future meeting of council. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you.
I'll go find John.
Thank you.
You break.
We're looking at, yeah, we'd like to have a 2-minute to 4-minute recess. 7:29. Harley will stop.
That's true, you gotta get the butts,
Pardon?
butts.
Hey, go get those butts that are over here.
Esther, I'm missing a donut today.
I just stop this again.
That don't have-
Welcome back, everyone, at 7:36. I'm calling the meeting back to order. And now we're going to move to 9.2. We're going to hear about the snow and ice policy discussion from our Public Works gentleman, foreman, manager, sorry, Robinson. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marianne. Administration, just is seeking feedback and discussion from being that there's a new council. That potentially may have different priorities or, ideas, so, we're just trying to facilitate a discussion on if council would like to see any amendments or feedback regarding the current snow and ice removal policy. The current snow and ice removal policy was last amended in 2023. Administration is just seeking direction regarding any potential revisions that they would like to see in this policy. Key guidelines and metrics in the current policy, just very high level description is so snow and ice control will take place when the following snow accumulations are met. 5 centimeters for sidewalks. 7.5 centimeters for roads in the downtown area. 10 centimeters on main roads. 20 centimeters in residential areas. There is a priority list to help guide the Public Works Department in terms of targeting and assigning work based on the priorities set. So priority 1, which is the most urgent, is main roads in downtown district. Priority 2, secondary roads. Priority 3, sidewalks, parking lots, trails. In the policy itself, it does have maps that define these priorities. And I forgot to add priority 4 is residential streets.
No, it's on page 94,
It's just not.
right near the bottom.
I just forgot to mention that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you, it's here, page 94, it says priority for residential. Thank you.
So designated snow storage locations, I just thought I would flag this because there's the new tower in the curling rink parking lot. I believe that assigned snow storage location should be removed from the existing policy. And we're just seeking feedback from council regarding street sanding and salting, particularly with weekends and also sidewalk snow removal. So this mainly applies to when there's like 5 to 7 centimeters that falls, or 5 to 10 centimeters, because 5 centimeters would meet the threshold for sidewalk snow removal, but if it reaches 7.5 or 10 or higher, then that would priority 1 routes, so being main roads and downtown, would supersede that. So we're just trying to facilitate a discussion regarding if the current policy should be amended to include more defined work for any after hours call outs or anything like that.
Yeah, can I say something?
Yeah.
Uh,
Go ahead.
sorry,
No, go ahead.
if it snows, get the streets cleaned downtown first. I don't care if it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Work your schedules around this. I'm not here, I'll direct this to Molly, because I guess I'm not your boss. It's whatever form of scheduling you have. Because the thing is, we're not reinventing the wheel. We have been doing this for decades. And that's how it's been done. So I don't know if they can change.
So if I may, and thank you for that. So I'm concerned that if we start doing things at 4 in the morning, we're changing our current service levels, and then we're changing it would impact directly or indirectly impact the budget. So the plan is, yes, I agree that we'd like the streets cleared, but do we have the resources in place to do it? Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, no, let John. And then I'll add.
Sorry, okay, sorry, John, go ahead.
Just to address your point there, in the current policy, it does say that priority 1 is done within 24 hours. And downtown district is done outside of normal business hours. So when we do downtown, we typically start at like 5 a.m. Currently, as per the current policy. So I just wanted to say that.
And just to speak to that, I agree with you 1,000,000%. Yeah, we want the roads clear, but are we gonna be over budget?
It has nothing to do with being over budget. It is doing it in a timely manner, dealing with Mother Nature.
I think that's,
So if we had guys going, starting at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, cleaning the slope. We had contractors coming in if we needed it, if there was a heavier snowfall. We had the guys with their end dumps hauling out the stuff to make everything a little bit better. You brought in their loaders, their skid steers. We used the other contractors in the area. If you can't keep up, hire somebody. It actually became out more efficient.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I got Bruce and then I got Nestor. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Dan, like in extreme cases, I got it, you know, if you're just doing regular, but I think you're right. 5 o'clock in the morning, you come out and you do this street, that street, the one by Perry's, right? We get those ones cleaned up by the school. And then we work on everything, but there's also 2 types of stone. And I mean, just for easy math for us, 5 centimeters is 2 inches. If you get 2 inches of fluff, it's totally different than 2 inches of heavy wet snow. 2 inches of heavy wet snow, you got a wreck happening if you don't deal with it right away. 2 inches of fluff, you can take your little blower and blow her off. It's nothing. So, you know, if somebody's out there checking with their tape measure, it would be 2 different things, but that's a management decision. You look there, oh shit, that snow is heavy. Well, you're on that thing right now because it'll be packed down right now. So if you get in that heavy wet or either, if you're on these main streets at 5, you have enough time to get them cleared before everybody starts parking. And then you can address, that's how I feel you can address. And I think, and then like Dan says, in extreme conditions, if we need to hire a couple contractors with their trucks, absolutely, we wheel in and you guys are scrape it all in and skid steer it all where these guys need it and let them, you know, load them and haul it, right? We can get a few trucks if we need it to get it hauled out quick.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Nestor.
Okay, these guidelines, they're good, they're good. In the past, I think the service was pretty good. This time around, with that wet snow and freezing, then what should have happened was it should be more attentive to it. Do your checks morning and evening, and wherever there's a hot spot, it's a hot spot. It's got to be attended to ASAP. You know, like with some icy sections, especially in town where people can slip and fall, you know, break an ankle, whatever liabilities come to play. So, like, in general, I think the service has been pretty good, but just, you know, a little bit more attention paid to hotspots. You know, to what, like if you have wet snow, you know you're gonna have ice. And if you have ice, you have slippery conditions. Address it and address it ASAP if possible.
One thing that happens too is, yeah, like when you get the wet snow, of course, all the business owners or our units go and they blow it right onto the street right there. And that's where you're getting it, stepping off the curb and boom. Cause you got double the amount of snow right in that little, and then the cars pack it. So yeah, getting back on it, Nestor. But then, you know, a couple of days later, once you get the stuff under control, then you just, okay, boys, let's take care of this area and let's clean this all up today. Tomorrow we'll clean that area up. Bump, bump, bump. And then it's clean and we had a couple of nice days, but all of a sudden we got bare streets again. You know.
Okay, so thank you. This is a good discussion. So are we changing the levels on page 94? Are we changing
You know
any of
what? These levels, they're a guideline and a guideline only, you know, that in certain conditions, like you said, if we've got cold weather, it's very light snow, you know, there's very little volume there in the first place. But if it's wet snow and that, it's a judgment call, and it's a judgment call on yourself from experience, okay? So it's yeah, like certainly I don't want to have anybody out there with a tape measure and saying, well, it's a 1/4 inch under, it leaves, but you know, you have to take a few other factors into consideration too.
Yeah.
It's a guideline. That's what I mean.
Okay, go ahead, Tegan.
And I hear what you guys are saying. I agree with everything. I just think that although these are guidelines, and I think that you guys will use your discretion, as they also are really important because, like, legally, we have to know so that that our administration can stand out and say, you know what, if somebody complains, you know what, it wasn't actually per policy, it wasn't high enough to become a priority or whatever it is. Like, we need these guidelines in place to protect us as a council as well and as a town. So do you think that these guidelines from administration point of view, like these, the centimeters and all that, are good? Because you guys are out there.
Well, frankly, like from a policy perspective, that would be the most black and white guideline that or threshold that we can refer to. I get that like not all snow is the same, like you said, but it may be hard to determine from a policy perspective to, especially if people are asking you counselors. It may just be a little bit harder to answer those kind of questions from people.
Okay.
So
I got Nestor and then I got Dan, and then I think one thing I wanted to point out on the map, and then we're going to.
Map is on the last.
Yeah, we're gonna call the question, or we're gonna make a motion, sorry.
Just,
Go ahead.
there's another item like, we had that couple inches of snow here several days back. And, like past our place, like, it seems like there's a lot of people coming past our place and yours. Coming from the hospital, going to the hospital, and those sidewalks were not swept for days on days and days. So if it was an oversight, what you should, like, if there is a guideline to get, you know, to sweep sidewalks, you know, they're prioritized once you get caught up with your work. Get out. And you've got 2 rooms, you know, and I'm sure there's some priority sidewalks and others are not quite as high priority, you know, like on 855, I can see you were sweeping, that's school trip, great, smart. But there's other, you know, there's other avenues that may not be high priority, but they're a priority too.
So my comment, and Councillor Kudlap pointed this out to me on page 102. Is it on the map? So in back of the supportive living, the Barbie Nook, was there ever a priority to clear that back alley that faces the lodge and the residential area? There's none.
And like on the north side of Barbie Nook.
Correct.
Yeah.
that used to be,
So is that,
so what happened to it since then?
is it for first responders or what are you thinking?
That is also for access for all the residents, and actually a lot of people use that
And
as a alternate route to go around,
And so to speak on, to add to what Councillor Kulak's saying is, there's the self-contained Cedar Villa that faces on the north side. That's for access into their parking lot. So if that road is not plowed, then the residents living in the self-contained don't have any access to getting their vehicles out.
The north facing units.
We have to change policy, right, to include that as a priority
Well,
road.
it's just not, it's not identified on the map. So I'm just wondering if that was a change or an oversight as council switches, right?
Yeah, it's not,
Do you,
it's not referred to in this map, so we can definitely.
can I show you on it?
do you know where we're talking about or?
Yeah,
I'll
just
walk it over to you, just there.
we've right here.
Yeah, so I highlighted it in a pen, right, yeah, that's exactly, so one from the corner street all the way up to the
There
other.
it is.
So if we were to pull it up on the town map, it would be,
You find it on this one?
That seemed to be an
Page
issue
5 of
even when I
6.
was.
page 102 of 140.
Right.
Page 6 of 6.
You can definitely make that amendment, but that's.
Yeah. So do you have the legal, land there or?
I don't have the address on that thing and.
That's right here. If you.
So it's 51A Avenue, it's behind 51A Avenue on page 5 out of 6, if anyone's looking for it. Right? Right there, right? Cause that's my back alley.
That's the back alley that costs us a lot of money. Water, because we were dealing with contractors when we were doing the build and everything, had to put extra sewer lines in
Ventilation.
and everything to deal with. The
Okay.
grade and that, so the whole idea is to keep everything. And unfortunately, in that area there. A lot of snow just has to be removed, it can't be just weighted,
Yes.
so.
And- Yeah, and just to add to that, behind Barbie Nook is a very shaded spot, so.
Yeah.
Snow does build up and it doesn't have a chance to melt.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And a
Okay.
big thing is that for a lot of us had lots of issues with overflow melting into our properties.
And so like Dan said, it has to be like.
We pretty much solved all of that whenever there was berms put off the site. And if there was a heavy melt in the springtime, that's what caused the problem. It's just dealing with quick melts, and that's what.
So we should put that in the amendment that it needs to be removed and not just pushed off the road.
So we're going to, I'm going to go in the rotation. Councillor Chern is going to be making the motion. And the motion, I think, would be framed something like this, that the Town of Smoky Lake administration bring back an updated version of the snow and ice policy with the fall, no, sorry, cancel that. Before the motion comes out, we're happy with the sanding and everything. The sanding machinery is all up to par. We fixed any
It's working.
issues.
Okay.
We're at maximum.
Don't sand on dry streets.
Okay, so now we're looking
That's
at
what I
the
see
motion.
one of the guys doing there. They're spreading material on dry streets,
Operations is all the way here.
wasting material.
So the motion is going to be that the Town of Smoky Lake add the 51A Avenue
Back alley.
back alley snow clearing and removal from that.
I think it's called 53 Avenue, is it? Because it
I'm
continues.
trying to blow up the map. here,
It can,
sorry.
53 is like next to the Kinsman Park, and then that back alley continues 53. But I don't know if it's called 53 or if it's
I
not.
wonder if the girls can pull that up on the map.
Think.
This is 53 Avenue.
Oh, what,
This is, or no,
Carly, is there anyway? Because when I pull it up.
I don't think we have
oh,
it.
that's 53.
I'm not.
So,
So we're, my address, so I'm with, what are you looking at?
okay, so back to.
We're just trying to figure out the address.
Okay, Carly's gonna pull it up, so we're gonna, okay, point of order, everyone, let's focus here. The motion from Councillor Chern is going to be that the Town of Smoky Lake add to snow removal, clearing and removal from blank address until we're getting it, to the current snow and ice removal policy as a priority.
You can add the description behind the Barbie.
this is 50.
So do you like?
Back lane on the back side.
Okay, so we're gonna make that a priority 3.
Sure.
Is everyone okay with the priority 3? John, is that doable? Priority 3?
Yeah,
Okay,
Sort of a 2.5. Sorry.
Before 3 begins.
to the current snow and ice removal policy at this time. Go ahead, Molly.
If I could add one thing, I do think it warrants some inclusion of sanding in our policy. I think that it will be subjective, but I think that when it comes, if it does come to any legal claims against the town, it's strongly advised to have some consideration of sanding mentioned, even if it is just at the discretion of Public Works.
Yeah, okay, and I would put, we do sanding in the morning, doesn't matter if it's snowing or not, because once it starts to melt, everything around it will melt. So say if it's still kind of snowing out or whatever, I would sand early because that's, you're stopping ability. You know, when MCON rolls through and they do 50th Street, it's, yeah, it gets dragged. So like say if there's ice building up or whatever, I would be sanding first thing in the morning. I'd send the truck out. Well, once the guys grade, you know, so if they're cleared, so if they clear this main street, there's still icy patches, they could just do like David Kochik used to do all the time. He used to go by CIBC, just little patch there, little patch by Home Hardware, just for stopping. It's all for stopping. You don't need any for acceleration. Coming up to the four-way stop, that little curve, and then for stopping. All the sanding is rated for the stopping process.
That guy didn't even have to say it, he
so-
just did it.
Hang on a second. We have a motion on the floor. I think I'm prepared to withdraw it at this time and to make a new motion that includes at the discretion of administration or Public Works. Go ahead, John. Are you gonna add anything to the motion or?
pretty much, you know, I was just going to just add something to Councillor Chern's
It's pretty tough to get a bylaw to everything, but you have to
Okay, so in
make sure.
terms of
we're on the
policy, do
Situation.
you feel that you want to add it to the policy or just a rebuttal to Councillor Chern?
I was just gonna add to Councillor Chern's comments that when we are doing snow removal downtown, that is like a 4-person job, so we will have to wait till the snow removal is complete, and then we can do sanding.
You mean when you're blading? When you're blading, it's 4, so you got 1 guy on the grader, 1 guy on the skid steer, and 2 guys on the brooms?
We have one in the grader, 2 on dump trucks to the haul, and we have the snow blower to load up the trucks.
Okay, because what I would do there is go back to when we get a snowfall like that, where we're packing it away. I wouldn't hesitate to get a contractor in with a truck or 2 trucks, whatever we see, we'll keep, because like Dan says, that math works. Those guys with their little tandems are like $90 an hour. And we hire them for 5 or 6 hours each, and that is money well spent. And we'll come in under budget rather than farting around with our trucks, because our trucks don't pack a lot. Our trucks, 1 truck at least will be involved, maybe the other one won't be. Like the bigger one could be involved, we got 2 other tandems. And you just load and have the cycle going. Because when we use our 2 trucks, you load, then you wait, you load, you wait, because most of the time they're probably dumping at the rodeo grounds, or where are they dumping at?
We dump at beside our public works shop.
For a bit there, till you plug that up.
So,
So
okay,
getting back to his comment.
no,
Sometimes-
I'm cutting it off right now, sorry. Thank you, and thank you. This is about the policy, and we're not making any changes to the policy. I mean, we can bring this up again at budget.
Yeah.
We don't want to change our levels of service. Sanding, the reason we're bringing this up is because we're getting calls. The public is telling us that the streets are icy, so we're forwarding them to our CAO. She will decide what, at the discretion of what Public Works has in terms of, we're ahead of the problem. We don't want any liabilities, but we want to address it by policy, okay?
Okay, so you're adding on the back alley.
My time's up for today, sorry.
So you're adding on the back alley.
Yeah, we are. Is that
Okay.
okay?
Good girl.
We have an address at this point?
No, I'll add it.
Okay. Are you okay with that?
Yeah,
If
I'm
you
good,
want
I'm
to
good.
talk into the, I support the dialogue, just not at this time. If it's operational, we'll bring it back to the levels of service. Go ahead, CAO Fighton, we're ready to move on.
Do you wanna go first? Are we including the discretion of sanding and salting?
Yeah,
To the
that's gonna
policy?
be in the motion.
And then,
So I've withdrawn the first motion from Councillor Churn. He's gonna make a new motion that the town of Smoky Lake amend the existing snow and ice policy to include sanding at the discretion of the CAO and Public Works Manager, and to include snow clearing and removal from the civic address to follow.
yes,
Back alley between north of Barbie Nooks self-contained and the residential
51A
area.
Avenue.
51A Avenue that we think it is for now. How does that sound?
Sure. Yep.
Okay, all in favor, calling the question, the motion is carried. Go ahead. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, I guess we can talk about it further when we have our operational budget meeting. As of now, in terms of our base level budget, operational budget that's coming forward to council this week, we do not have money budgeted for contractors. CAO is able to hire the contractors as needed, but it's just something to keep in mind. We will need to factor in some money into that going forward.
So I see that, and to speak to that, give me one sec. I see that as the expectation of council and myself, maybe I shouldn't speak on behalf, but we would want to see what the levels of service are, so that if we're upgrading or downsizing, that we have that information in front of us and that we can make a financially sound decision. Go ahead, Councillor Kudla.
Just to make a point, sometimes it's cheaper to actually hire the contractors than it is to do it yourself through
Point.
public works.
Yeah.
Point
Oh, yeah.
taken.
In a manageable timeframe.
So are we okay then just with the timeframes for clearance? Because if we are adjusting those, that is a service level adjustment. The 24 hours is what we have right now as that timeframe for clearance within the priority 1. If we are adjusting that, that is a service level adjustment. So if we're fine, we can bring that forward untouched. If we are adjusting that, then it will have potentially operational impacts. We would need to take that away and bring back something. in
So
that.
if we're discussing it, are we going to amend the motion, or are we all in agreement to discuss that? Any changes?
No,
Would anyone-
just as long as there's,
Would
comes
it-
back to discretionary of the public works.
Just pretend your grandma's going for an early morning walk.
Mhm.
And if she breaks your hip, she's dealing with you. That's the
Thank you.
discretion.
Thank you,
She
John.
doesn't have a studded walker.
On the
So,
highways, we're always told,
and I think it's,
make sure that you leave the road knowing that your wife and children driving.
yeah, and I think
So,
it's.
I mean, you know, it's, you think it's good for your wife or children to be on it? Good.
Well, yeah, you're not gonna send her to the city when it's freezing rain. For
Okay,
sure.
thank you, everyone. John, I think we've kept you longer than.
Sorry for beating you
You
up.
have to say something else? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, I understand your point of view completely. I just, from an operational perspective, it's hard to define that exactly in terms of the policy, so. We have like the certain thresholds we have now, like the 5, 7 years, 7.5, and so on. I was just wondering, are you fine with those thresholds in the current policy, or?
Like the 5 centimeter.
Getaway, yeah, you should have left one too.
You go right back into it.
Well, that
I
goes,
think that they're
that goes
fair.
back to John, that goes back just to the type of snow it is, right? When you're backing out of your driveway, you're gonna know right away. When you have a hard time backing up, she's heavy. When you back up, you don't even feel it, she's light.
No, cold, there's traffic.
Yeah, so yeah, the warmer it is, the heavier the snow.
I just go.
Noted.
If that answered anything.
So we're not in recess, we're continuing on. Any other discussion? Because we're moving on. We're back at 6.1. Thank you, John. You're free to go, I hope, or I think, although I'm not.
You're free to go.
John,
Thank
like a
you.
word for your time?
You gave me an empty wrapper, you can give it to him, he deserves it.
Okay, so we're at 6.1, the administrative report. And normally we don't see reports at this time, but I felt that because we have the one employee, just to keep everything current, we would hear from our CAO at this time. So a lot of good information prepared for us in the 2-week period. And any questions for Molly, or if there's anything you'd like to walk through? Okay, I'll start us off. Couple of things in your report. I have some notes. You make reference to the leadership team, and maybe that should come back on the org chart. Could we know who's on the leadership team
Yeah, it's,
as a working perspective, or?
yeah, it's typically the my direct reports that you see here at the meetings. So that is the FCSS director, the assistant CAO, the public works manager, and the development officer. So those are my direct reports on the organizational chart.
So nothing about fire or?
No, I don't have meetings with fire, nothing formally. Yeah. Yeah, that might change, I don't know.
So then in bullet 3, you're working on the development, business planning. So I would assume each department, business planning, we didn't have anything in place. I'm not sure what we did prior to you coming on board and recognizing there's a need for this. And then you said it's a 6-month timeline. So when would we get the reports with the plans?
As I mentioned here, these need to align and are influenced by council's strategic plan. So I guess what I'm proposing is that
The CAO report, and it's the 4th bullet. Sorry, or 3rd bullet, asking a question about the development plans.
yeah, ultimately, this will come down to what council decides and how they want to move forward with the strategic planning. But we need to ensure there's alignment, and that runs, I don't know, I guess both ways, but it should be driven by council strategic direction. So I think if, administration is recommending that we start those strategic planning sessions January, February. So coming out of that, we would need a few months following the finalization of that, so. But I guess it would be a spring thing, would be fair to say, but we can definitely get the drafts ahead of council before that, though.
So we can anticipate in March, April.
Yeah, I would say that that's fair.
Okay, and then we're going on to the sixth bullet. We're having agenda setting meetings and leadership team sessions. What are the projects, for example?
Sorry, in which?
Sixth bullet on page 28 of 149. Just an example of the projects that you're doing the check-ins, which is great. Everything's great, and supporting project updates. So we have certain projects on the go, or
Yeah, so we're continuously checking in on our follow-up action lists. That's essentially what we refer to in terms of council direction and motion. So we have those, we have our capital plans, and that's something we've been working on reporting. So that's gonna give us more of a new starting point in terms of what that looks like for project updates, but I would say that covers it.
okay.
Which capital plans?
The updated capital plans that were shared at the preliminary budget conversations with council. 10-year capital plan. And then we have our current annual capital plan.
Anything specific that you're? No, it's just as a whole or what?
Yeah, it include everything we do is linked
Okay.
either.
And so I'm just working through it. So thank you for attending the Go East in Vegreville. In your estimate, was there a lot of value to attending that, or you came back with the magazines? We all got one. You were aware, I don't know if all council is aware, but this is we pay a subscription or an annual fee to belong to Go East. And the advertisement is done in joint partnership with the county and the two villages. So is there any discussion? We'll be submitting an ad, and how much are the fees coming up?
Yeah, that's something that I had passed along to Crystal to ensure we had that as part of the operational budget. But yeah, we have part of what I was able to talk to the managing director about when I was there, because there was no representation from Smoky Lake region as a whole.
Right.
So I did talk to him about what that looked like with the county, and we typically pair up. The county contributes more, but the town then contributes to the county. And then we come up with that regional advertisement for the Smoky Lake region as a whole every year in that marketing, that Go East guide.
So the ad is valued at $3,500 and county pays 65%. The town is at 25% and the two villages are at 5%. So, and that was usually a motion of council that came through all four councils. And the reason there was no representation is we had other meetings booked and it was RMA for the county. So not a lot of notice for that particular meeting. So I'm just concerned that if we are attending things, especially out of town, that there is value being brought back to the town.
So other conversations I had, Kevin is the managing director and he's been wanting to just meet with me as a CAO for quite some time, but then I was also being asked to attend the AGM along with some of the other CAOs. And so I said, well, let's just chat all while we're in one spot. And he had mentioned the advertising. He also talked, I wanted clarity on some of the grant funding that is often, it goes through them. And I didn't realize that. I thought they had actual grant programs straight through Go East, but that's not how it works. The money runs through them as a liaison. And then they talked about the fact that they were looking at some regional initiatives for different communities to host training programs through Go East. And that is something that I'll bring forward to this table when they send me more information. So it was really good dialogue, even just with the other municipalities and the other CAOs in attendance as well, just from a networking standpoint.
What's the deadline for getting an ad in? Because we're looking at the 2025.
Yeah.
So
So
to add,
that
2026, when's the deadline?
That was a motion from,
This is the most current?
well, if I may, this lasts a year. So it comes out, the motion was made in January of 2025 at the joint municipalities and then brought back to each respective council. So this is submitted on behalf of the region. So it's $3,500 for the center spread of the 2 pages. And then the other things that are referenced with Smoky Lake are by each individual municipality or.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Is this online too, or is it strictly paper, or do we have, what is the circulation on this?
Yeah, I could provide a whole report just on their marketing strategy, which they do a lot online right now, so I believe it's online as well. It's offered for free. They said it's hot off the press and it's gone within sometimes hours. In terms of distributing that guide that you see there, those were just leftovers that they actually made people bring them back if they weren't using, just for examples. They're really hard to come by. So they do depend on a lot of digital marketing as well, and they just released a whole brand new marketing campaign on that as well.
Next question.
Yeah, so they're like Google's #1 marketing platform. In terms of the deadline, they did ask that we renew any contributions memberships through them by December 15th.
And do we know how much it would be?
Yeah, he did. This, as I said, would be coming forward as part of the operational budget discussions.
Okay, then we'll leave it at
It
that.
was 3,600 he said mostly paid by the county in previous years.
And I just got that from the motion, so 65%, but thank you for that. I have two more things and then we're opening up the floor if there's other questions. Just a comment, the last bullet, so it's on my page 29 of 149. Thank you for bringing this forward. It's the Regional Highway 28, the corridor. So I would like to earmark for the budget. There is, you'll hear the presentation and I believe it's coming back to us at a regular council meeting in January or thereafter. So what the expansion is, and we talked about it at the tour, what the traffic circle will look like, the roundabout. Incidentally, there's 700 meters of paving that will come from the east entrance of the town. So that's by the hospital through up to 700 meters equals the town maintenance shop. And ironically, 700 more meters is from the town maintenance shop to the four-way stop. So not the worst road that we want to get paved, but could we maybe talk about it at budget time if we have anything extra that if they're here paving, maybe we can get a road paved and supplement those costs. So just
So if they're paving from past your house
potentially.
all the way to the 40 stop.
Nope.
The entrance by the hospital off 28
Yeah.
to the maintenance shop,
Okay, and then you
That
said
went
from there to the,
West Ridge.
four-way stop.
700 meters, and that's the initial conversations. It could change. And
so
if you look at-
1,400 meters in total.
No, 700, but if you look it up, if we were to do a supplement project to put in our capital budget, 700 more meters would take us to the four-way stop.
Oh, and that's what you're proposing, that we look at
Well,
that.
I'm just like, I'm not proposing anything. I just want a wider discussion of council. If they're here anyways and they're doing the work, can we afford to have them do extra work?
Well, let's get a quote and see where we're
Yeah,
at.
but I'm just flagging it as to have the future discussion, so it's not lost, so that they should.
I know all the way up to pretty much the end is where that road's getting needs a repair,
Okay. So-
needs overlay on it.
That was done,
Okay,
that asphalt
let's-
was done in the mid-80s.
Yeah, so let's talk about that tomorrow night, maybe,
I'm
if
not sure
there's
on
any.
the capital
Let's look.
project we're looking at.
Okay, so I wanted,
Sorry.
I know you're up and I know you're up. I'm just gonna say one more thing. And then I'm gonna open up the floor. I was recently talking to Councillor Kudlak and we were discussing the reports in general. And previous council used to get a gas department report. We haven't had a gas department. I don't know what has changed or if it's fallen off. I'm just wondering, is there a value to have it reinstated?
Bed gas, sorry.
And just that we do gas, our gas.
Oh, our own, yeah.
And I think it would be a value to have that report. Two previous councils had it. I don't know what's changed or if we've gone to a manager foreman. If you look at an agenda from, say, 2020, 2019, there was always included a gas report. So
It just fills you in under
what's happening?
the ability of, I guess everything's been molded into just public works and with utilities and everything. Just things change. But when I was prior, we actually had reports and telling us exactly what we're dealing with how many meters were being changed and everything else in the system. Where we're at that, and then it gives some insight on exactly how fast we're getting things done in a timely manner.
I've
So-
seen those in John's report, so I'm just not sure, but
So we don't get caught later down the road saying, oh yeah, we have a pile of meters that have to get changed because we forgot about them.
Okay, and thank you for that. You were gonna say something?
No, I was good. We're scared of you.
I told me to say.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
To provide clarity though, that last bullet was actually not about the Highway 28 improvements.
What?
This is about a regional Highway 28 corridor concept. It's a ACP funded project that was started with Village of Asatna, Vilna, Town of Smoky Lake and the county, and the town's actually the managing partner. I sat in on one regional CAO meeting about this, but I did mean to mention in sometime in this meeting that the county wants to initiate the next joint municipalities meeting sometime in January, and that's Vilna hosting that one. Now, I wanted to ensure that the regional partners received an update on this project because we would like to do some regional workshops tailored towards this so we can move forward in January with this. So I was proposing that perhaps joint municipalities could be the first time that we're together and we could look at doing that. So the county did ask if there was any like blackout dates in January that would work on our side of things, so I could proceed by email if you want, or we could.
You should go ahead and do that. The only blackout date is the emergency training, which
Okay.
is in the latter part of January.
29th.
Anyone else have holidays or cannot make it on certain dates?
I'll zoom in.
A joint municipality meeting, what it means, for those who might not know, all four councils and admin go to a area, we take turns hosting and going to, this time it's Vilna, and we hear presentations from the school trustee, maybe the MLA, certain issues brought forward by different councils, and we have dinner, and it's an evening meeting with an agenda, and no motions are made because they have to be made and brought back to the respective councils, but it's a time where you're in the room with all the county.
You get full scope of dialogue coming in. Try to leave your boxing gloves at home.
And is that the school council as well, the school?
The school trustee and the superintendent are usually there. If they
So
can.
if we have something
Big boys, you.
to discuss that might be helpful, like, okay, so I'm just gonna say specifically the field issue. Cause I met with school council, and it's this big issue about how the field has all these gophers. It's this huge, it's become this big thing and everyone's talking about it within the school, and so how do I get that added to the agenda?
Through myself, so as the CAO from the town, I can bring any items forward to the agenda, unless there's a major objection, it gets added, so if it's something that affects. Yeah,
So-
but just keep in mind, it's like joint municipalities, it should be a
Oh.
regional initiative.
So, and thank you for that, and thank you for that. So is it something that you want alignment with all of council to bring it forward, or you're just doing it yourself?
Yeah, no, I would like alignment, so maybe we can bring it up at some meeting. I just don't know how to add stuff to the agenda.
And that's
that kind of
fair,
stuff.
that's fair.
So this was just an issue with the gophers and how last year our public works used our budget because the town was getting so much heat about this gopher field, and really it belongs to the school. It belongs to Aspen View. And so I met a lot, like, and we discussed, we showed them the plan. This does not belong to Smoky Lake. Smoky Lake the town of Smoky Lake did the school board a favor last year by trying to help remedy the situation.
So, and thank you for bringing that up. I wasn't aware. Would it be better served if it was put on the December 16th agenda? If you were to
Yes.
to send that in, follow the CAR form, we'll talk about it, and then unitedly, if it's a word,
Send the
collectively,
CAR form
we
to you.
will discuss it and move it forward to joint municipalities. There will be definitely enough time, and that takes care of that. So it started with, I made a mistake. I thought we
Okay.
were talking about the corridor. So
Very familiar,
I
or
would-
very similar.
I would like to, now that I know that new council doesn't have that information, we had a presentation from Michael Botras, and the county had the same presentation. If that slide deck could go out so that everybody knows, When you were campaigning, some people were asking about it, so you might not have known. The motion will be to direct administration to email that PDF out.
Oh, yeah.
And you can just, if you want it to come back, you'll look at the PDF, you'll see what the plans are, what the roundabout looks like, and we'll go from there. So, Councillor Rosachuk has a motion that the town of Smoky Lake accept for information the verbal and written CAO report for November 15th to December 2nd, with the addition to reinstate the gas department report and to email all council the previous presentation by Michael Botris from Department of Highways. No, that's Department of Infrastructure.
I'll put it
Okay.
on.
Harley will make it correct. And as previously presented to previous council, and that's the motion. Any more discussion? Any questions about it? Comments? Okay with the motion? All in favor? Calling the question, all in favor? The motion is carried. Tegan, you're okay with that?
Yep, sorry.
Okay, so we're voting and it's all, motion is carried. Thank you again. That concludes our administration section. Thank you, Molly, for your report. We have concluded section 6. I'm not sure if that leaves out who can go home. Is Rochelle or Crystal or no, you're staying. Okay. Or the mayor. Okay, so we're going on to number 7. Proclamations, the list for the policy. I'm going to start the discussion, even though it's not my turn. It's a lengthy list. I'm not sure where we should go with this. And I like the presentation that's made for us. From the old school, I think if we're acknowledging a proclamation and we have an event that coincides with that proclamation, for example, Seniors Week, and so we do an event and we have a proclamation. Those are the ones I'd really like to keep as core proclamations. If we get too many, we're kind of losing sight of the value of what each proclamation is standing for. I believe FCSS probably has a larger amount, recognizing everything from domestic or family violence month in November to other social concerns. But I'd like to open up the floor at this time to see where the rest of council is headed with this, or if we're just let's go around the room. I took your turn, Tegan, but you can start us off with how you might feel about the proclamations, and we're on page 56.
So if my understanding is correct on what these proclamations even are, I just think it needs to be deferred, in my opinion, to a later meeting, because I need more understanding on what these even are. And not at what they are, but it just needs more time. And I just think there's more pressing issues to work out right now.
Thank you.
But again, that's just a very
Right,
ignorant opinion,
thank
just
you for
based
that.
on what I understand.
And I think administration's done an excellent job of preparing this information for us.
They
with
have,
each
yeah,
page and, you know, yeah.
they definitely have. I just think it needs more time than this meeting.
It's hard when you get the agenda and two people. Go ahead. Want to defer it or?
No, they're very similar to what we used to do before. So I don't see, it's just a time frame, acknowledgement for whichever week that they're having or day. And I'm fine with it. Nothing comes to my mind, that anything got missed.
So, okay,
No,
just,
just
so then,
this tradition, you just carry on with tradition.
okay, so with the exception to myself and Tegan, we would want, the 3 councillors are feeling that, we just approved the current proclamations for 2026, option number 1 in alternative options. And we move on.
Approving them with changes, obviously, of name and all that kind of stuff.
No, we're just
Well,
gonna approve the listing that we used for
we're gonna accept the list as presented.
Update the proclamations with your name.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Sure.
obviously.
Yeah, there is one I will point out, the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. That one is recommended we do a bit more updates on that one.
And what page is that one on? It's prepared for us or?
11 of 18. Sorry, that's the number that's showing up at the top of my screen. That different for you?
Okay. So I have it page 67 of 149. That's okay. So you want to not include that one or you want some
What's
amendments?
the question?
Truth is reconciliation.
Yeah, page 67.
No, I'm just asking. Again,
So, and here's the risk in doing these. The town posted a proclamation for the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation this year. We did have some concerns brought forward to us from a citizen located within Buffalo Lake Métis settlement. There was some oversight in acknowledging some of our local Indigenous communities in this proclamation. So instead of it being a day where, you know, we were to talk about inclusion, instead voices felt silent. And so unless this is maintained and really gone through in a fine tooth comb to ensure the updates are made as needed, and again, who does this fall on? That's another question. It can be harmful when the intent is supposed to be positive. And so that's kind of why I wanted to provide some of the, I really do want council to take a look at some of the pros and cons to, if you keep them, you want to make sure that they are comprehensive. If you're speaking to a specific community group, you should have engagement with them to make sure that it's, you know, captured properly and that there is engagement.
Yeah, I see like this one, it's recognizing Paul First Nations, Enoch Cree, Alex, whatever, Mitchell First Nations, no mention of any of our locals. So I would just go a general throughout all Alberta, Western.
Yeah.
Records, you know.
Put it
Don't miss
Métis
them.
and,
What?
cause see Buffalo Lake is Métis.
I don't, there's
And
some,
that's,
you
that's,
just pointed out strictly
but
indigenous.
there is also a
Covers
Métis,
the whole
you're
scope.
also, not in this proclamation, but
So,
we do have a Métis.
so Nestor, that's why I'm saying, I think it needs more
Yeah.
time. Like you guys are voting on to like just put them out there, but my argument, not in a negative way, is that it just needs more time. And like, for example, there's a huge list of proclamations and I was trying to see if I was missing something earlier when I was looking through these. There's a list of proclamations, but I don't see them all.
But
So for example, there's Pride Month proclamation, but I don't see a Pride Month proclamation.
so
So how can we agree to put those out if we, I can't even,
I
did I
never
miss
vote
it?
on that one.
Yeah, did I miss that, you know?
Focus.
But I'll just make a point here, with due respect. I was in agreement with the list until the manager pointed out of what incident that she had in the comment that she got back for feedback.
Okay, yeah.
She's the one that brought it up after she asked you question on this one particular item. So it brings question that, so I don't know. I guess if you wanted to start doing in your type of thinking, I suppose you don't agree with any of these, because you can have anybody walking through the door and disputing every single thing possible. So just because one individual, was it one individual or was it actually a committee or?
Well,
That's what I bring to question. Everybody has opinion, everybody has a point to come across, but what is the merit that they have? Just because they speak, I'm speaking right now, a lot of people don't agree with me.
Page 10.
I think like administration's recommendation is there and I've seen a lot of municipalities that don't do anything. This is our recommendation, just
They
say
have removed this one?
they don't do proclamations.
Yeah, maybe that's what we
They
can do.
don't. I'm just throwing that out there as an option. That's,
Well, it's pretty nice when it goes into a website that you accept firefighters weeks.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line. It's not just because
Yeah.
I have a closer tie to that, it's because I know what they can do.
So, I think we have some side discussions going and, so ladies, I hear what everything's being said. I'm going to, I'm gonna put a motion out there and you can vote against it or not. Because I feel quite passionate about, the one particular proclamation and it is issued by the Ministry of Seniors and Community, Social Services. So we're gonna keep the Seniors Week one, and the motion is gonna be, I'm sorry if I'm out of turn, you can get me back, that the town of Smoky Lake approves the Senior Week proclamation for the upcoming 2026 year and does not proceed with issuing any other proclamations until further notice.
Not the,
So you're not in agreement with the fire prevention.
No.
For that gives a full scope of education to tell people to put fire monitors in and
how
things.
about the volunteer week?
Well, or mental health, there's a few of them there,
So
right?
there's none that are there's none in
Maybe we should
January.
bring this back.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so there's none in January, there's none in February. Do you wanna halt everything or do you want it just to come back?
Let's halt it and save it for a later meeting.
Yeah, we can do it in
Okay.
January.
Okay, so rather than vote
Or
on the
February.
motion and to have that defeated, I'm gonna withdraw the motion.
Okay.
Thank you, Carly.
Table
So-
it to,
You're gonna go ahead and make the motion.
yeah, I table it to February. I'm not sure the date on the meeting.
We don't know that
Yeah,
yet.
no one.
No, okay, so we'll table it to the first meeting in February.
Okay.
First regular.
Any more
meeting.
discussion? Calling the question, all in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, and so now we're going to 7.2, the organizational chart and review policy. And so I'm gonna probably go out of turn on this one and I'm gonna speak to this. I was the one that originally brought it forward in an email. I think it's now taken a life of its own. I'm not sure what was prepared for us. It has a bit of here, sorry.
The Schedule A.
Well, there's a couple things, so. Let's start with page 75. Administration has prepared this for us, thank you. Page 76, there's page 76 of 149. There's some legislation, and I'm gonna read it out. The CAO has exclusive authority to determine how to organize staff and allocate responsibilities within the administration or the administrative structure as part of fulfilling the CAO's legislative duties. And then there's some side notes. Kind of seems a little combative. Not sure, I wasn't trying to go there with that. I wanted to ensure that, I want to bring this forward and I'll start the conversation with, we've been identified to have 10.5 FTE. So then I would turn and I'd have that open discussion with the CAO. Is that enough for the organization this size and our service delivery is 10.5 FTE, the right amount of people for the jobs?
Is that a question being posed to me right now?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So it would be too preliminary for me to answer that. I really would like to have the conversations with council and we haven't really dove into our budget conversations yet. But this really comes down to what our service levels are going to be going into the future. What you see right now currently on the org chart represents our base service levels, what we do now, what we do to keep the lights on and what we do to serve our residents. So if I'm being asked to conduct more of a review, and I apologize because I wasn't sure what the intent was on reviewing this either at this time. I just added legislative comments based on those conversations that we heard during our orientation and just through the MGA. And it is recommended that maybe it's not, it would be more of an administrative policy if we want to call it that. However, council does approve those full-time equivalency positions through budget approval, of course. So if that's what the question is, then I would recommend that there is a motion maybe put on the floor to do an evaluation of what our organizational chart is and if it accurately reflects our current service levels. Or do we want to wait until we have those strategic planning conversations and then I have some direction as to what council wants that to look like? And do we have the resources to match that?
I'm, can I respond?
Sure.
Or do you want to?
No, go ahead.
I'm pleased with that remark or that comment, and I'm ready to make that motion and frame it in a way that would be a huge benefit to all of us in the room, new and old and recycled. I'm concerned with the reference to legislation. It's not an internal document. I don't see any legislation in the CAO bylaw that says that it would be an internal document. Council's policymakers, and so it would be our, I think together we can get there. I'm not keen on the policy the way it is worded right now. I believe that it should come back with some sort of clause that says that through attrition, and we can develop that further. And before I do make a motion, I'd like to go to Dr.
Kodalak.
Dr. Councilor Kodalak at this time. Oops.
So council sets policy, gives direction, and can only do things by motion. So what I want the men to come back with is, I'm not fully aware of all your services that you're providing to in this establishment. Are we over servicing? Are we under servicing? I just want to know where we're at. Just like I mentioned it to you before, everything's a value. If you're getting great value for your dollar, everything's great. But if you're not, then it becomes a issue. So that's what I want to see. You mentioned that a few times, that due to the type of services you have, I just want to see the merit of what everybody does. It's just, that's the way it works. And unfortunately, this is kind of a gray area. The town is a business, but it lays into a different scope. You're also everything in between, social workers, every single thing possible. Bill collectors, the whole nine yards of the scope. So it's just to put the rest of council into perspective, come up with an answer to that question.
If I may, it's like you're just looking at my piece of paper here. So my motion kind of takes what you said and rolls it into a motion that I think would meet the needs of everybody. There might be some concern with the time frame, at which time let's leave it in a draft. And if it comes back to us and it's doable, that's great. We can proceed from there. So I'm going to frame the motion as the Town of Smoky Lake Direct Administration and the senior leadership team to present a department overview report at the regular council meeting for December 16th to identify key areas of service delivery and roles and responsibilities of each department.
I'll be fine with that.
Discussion?
That sounds good. It has to be fairly clear though.
I'd have to,
I think it would be, so the intention is to take the job descriptions as they exist today from each department and incorporate them in that presentation.
So that's exactly what the department business plan conversation piece is about, what is currently in progress. It identifies what our current service levels are, current FTEs required. That is exactly what we are working on, and that isn't something we can crank out in a week's time frame. And that is what I was also wanting to have the conversations with council for in terms of their strategic planning conversations, which I was hoping would start in January. I think we need to come into this well prepared, and we don't have, that's exactly the tools we do not currently have in this organization. Is and it depends what overview level you want. High level overview, well, that is what we kind of laid out in our part 2 orientation PowerPoint, is those high level overview of the service levels. Now are we wanting to now dive into job descriptions? That is. You know,
Well, on my part, yeah, I'd like to know what people do in the office, because I'm part of the family now. And I need to know what actually people do, what do you, and also how things are done in a timely manner. Is there room for improvement, which there always is? I can improve every day, but we're not getting there, but it's.
Well, we know the basics. We know that there's payroll, accounts payable, accounts receivable, tax collecting. So there's all these services, right? So then you get all the services out there. And then so-and-so is responsible for this, so-and-so is responsible for this. This one can cover that one's job, vice versa.
so I think like a lot of the information, if you look at the org chart, there's kind of a high level overview of what those key positions do on the org chart, how it's listed now. So I think a lot of those high level conversations are, I would say, captured between what we put together and there was a lot of information shared on November 28th. But maybe it's just dedicating some more time specifically to look at those slides that we did prepare with the high level service levels and the org chart, how it sits here.
I looked at all the slides, or I looked at all this stuff.
So I think what you're asking for is more of an efficiency review, and that is something that takes time. That wouldn't.
That indirectly, that's where I'm going with this, because I wanna see how the operations are. Because unfortunately, the comments were made, how come there's so many people in the office?
Big time, big time.
So the
Yeah.
thing is, I need to have the answer, because I don't wanna look.
Yeah.
I don't have pie on my face. I love pie, but it's just another thing. It's just, I need to have the answers for the people too. And if I don't get the answers, and excuses are not my answer,
Because
it's.
certain things, taxation, when you're doing the town taxes, that might be a 200 man-hour position, or 400 man-hour, whatever it is, right? Payroll, you're doing 2 pay periods a month. That might be 6 hours per pay period. It might be 12 man-hours. Are we, do we have enough people to cover this, or do we have too many people to cover this?
And I agree with what's being said. I understand. So, okay, so going back to the org chart itself, I want to just kind of bookmark what you said. We were given, this is more of a CAO org chart. This was in the binder. And then this is the one that's in existence today with the positions that need some tweaking to identify the navigator position. So I think in terms of, okay, so we have a motion on the floor. What I'm hearing is it's a bigger project than just the basic. The other part, which I'm not, because I still want to keep my friendship with Dan. So what was previous council doing? If we don't have these things in place right now, it's not a good reflection on previous council or even previous administration. So I'm concerned that we're going into budget and we want to make sure we have the proper resources to support our admin with staffing and with service level delivery, but we won't be able to get that report in until a couple months.
And that's exactly what Rodney touched base on. Like in an election year, there's going to be a lot of pieces that are not in the right order. And that's just the reality of a new council coming in, diving straight into budget conversations. And that's why he said they kind of influence each other both ways. Budget influences strategic planning influences budget. And I don't think it's a matter of, focusing on too much on what we're missing or what's been done in the past. It's just recognition of we want council to make well-informed decisions. And we need to start piecing these things together so that you have the information you need. Not all municipalities have department business plans. But I think the ones that, ensure council has the information that they need, have them in place. And they are fluid plans as well, right? They're influenced by council and how we pivot and how we do business, but these are exactly the conversations and the pieces of the projects that we're working on. That was in the CAO report. It does take time.
And so one quick thing too. So in order for this council to support administration, you've included the Schedule B. And my thought is, are we on par with industry standard? Do we have fair pay equity for the jobs that are being done? So these are all information. We don't have a salary grid. We're looking at things that we have the ranges. Are we comparable or are we,
Where do we sit?
yeah,
I
we have to make
vote
sure that
that
we're
we-
paying for our employees to be engaged so that we're not losing them to other municipalities, I guess, for.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That is something I had flagged. Just wanted to make sure that we do that in kind of the right order with these conversations.
And it all ties together.
Yeah, it does. And
So,
what I wanted to mention though was on that salary, that's another concern. I do have some concerns with the policy and the salary ranges as listed as a schedule, so the policy is concerning. The positions are too identifiable. To have them posted publicly, you can have your salary available publicly, but to have them posted as a schedule, you want to avoid that when it's a smaller organization.
Okay,
Usually
thanks for that.
CEOs are posted.
Yeah, through financial statements, you
Yeah,
can access that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so we're gonna-
But workers,
we're gonna go to Dan. Is
Paul
there
cutting
comment?
the grass is not posted. So anyways, coming back to this comment that you made earlier. It is critical on what has happened in the past. Because sometimes prior councils can put financial strain on upcoming council they have, which limits their ability to actually achieve certain goals. If the money's not there, the money's not there. And the point is, you can't borrow yourself out of debt. So this is where I'm at. When you're a small community, you have to watch every penny.
Go ahead, Tian.
What I'm hearing is that we're all on the same page, administration and council, that this has to be looked at. But I think it is a bigger job than to just say, please have it here on December 16th. And also for us, I know that we have time limitations with approving the budget, but I do remember what Rodney said when he said the first year is kind of, I don't want to use the term a wash because you do want to make a difference in that first year, but there are certain things that like these meetings, so much information is in them. And if anybody else is feeling like I am, I'll speak for myself. I'm like, what? And this is with me spending hours reviewing the agenda and all the work. So I think that at some point we have to understand that this year is everyone's trying their best, but we're not going to get everything solved within this first year. So expecting administration to, and even for us to understand what's going on, that's a big expectation. And I think we just need to take it into consideration that we're all learning.
Okay, so, and thank you for that. It kind of, it gives us a sense of direction, like I might just be one voice. And so I think if it's appropriate at this time, I'd like to go into closed session. And I'm going to call, I'm going to move to go into closed session to discuss the organizational chart. So it's personnel.
Have a motion on the table.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So you can withdraw. Go to close.
Was her motion to present this, the 16th?
Yeah, so this, can I amend the date? Okay, so if we amend the date to January 13th, that meeting, would that give enough time for a draft?
No, not including holidays and such.
Okay, I'm gonna withdraw the motion and we're gonna go into closed session. It's 8:52, please. And it's the ATIA.
Section 20.
Thank you. And
Not follow each thing.
all in favor? Motion carried. Good, motion to come out of closed session at 9:18 PM is by Councillor Kodlak.
I move.
All in favor? Motion carried. I'd like to make a motion that the town of Smoky Lake direct administration and the senior leadership team to present a department overview report by the end of March 2026 to identify key areas, service delivery and roles and responsibilities for each department. And I'm going to add one word before department overview report, a draft department overview report. So it's not a final report that admin would prepare for us, a draft, and go from there. Even if it's a rough draft that started, I think that would be beneficial. And I don't think there's any more discussion needed unless anyone would like to add anything. All in favor, the motion is carried. Thank you. And we're moving on from 7.2, we're going into 8.1. Office closure, Christmas Eve. And Councillor Churn is going to have a motion that the town of Smoky Lake approve to close the town office and public works on Wednesday, December 24th, 2025 at 12 PM for Christmas Eve, and acknowledge that employees will use holiday time for the closure and administration advertise accordingly. Any discussion?
Nope.
I have one point of discussion, and I will make a subsequent motion. So, calling the question, all in favor? Motion is carried. We referenced that there are other annual motions, or sorry, we referenced that this is an annual motion. I'm curious as to what, as new council, do we have other annual motions? How many there could be? And I'd like to see them come back in December 16th, just to give administration or give the council a heads up as to what was approved annually, so we're not repeating, or it's so for awareness. And I'm sure one would be Halloween, or we had a policy that we close Halloween trick or treating is at that time. So my motion then would be to direct administration to bring back all annual motions to the December 16th, 2025 regular council meeting for council review or discussion. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. Would that be okay after the fact, admin? Just general awareness, because
Are there any? Sorry, there.
it made reference to that there should.
Oh, I just meant that this is a routine closure, like for Christmas Eve.
Yeah, but there are some standing motions that we don't with previous CEO. Yeah, just unless I'm.
I think more my point was just that if it is a routine thing, instead of having it brought forward each year, we could just include it as part of the personnel policy where it speaks to office closures during Christmas.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not aware of any others, but I'm saying I might not just be aware of.
New Year's Eve?
That's all part of that
Oh, okay.
section under the personnel policy.
Okay.
So
But right now it's not in the personnel. It's just every year it's a motion.
mhm.
Yeah, I think the door-to-door trick or treating, the times are an annual motion, but you can check.
It's a policy. We rescinded it.
As people at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Showing up.
Moving on to 8.2, the 6-month draft council orientation framework. So where this came from, I thought CEO Fighton did a very good job identifying a kind of like a roadmap to us moving forward, things that would come. We had talked about it just in passing at the orientation, and I thought it would be a good guide to use for just setting us in the right direction. I'm hoping everyone else feels that way, and Councillor Rosachuk, would you feel like how to make a motion to that effect, or?
This is the same draft you presented to that first meeting,
Yeah,
right?
but,
With a little bit of the additions because of these meetings that we proposed and stuff, but.
One thing I did want to mention though is that it is just draft, and I put that in there, but I think this is subject to change once we get into more strategic plan conversations, because council might feel that there are other key components that need to be added or shifted.
Okay.
Oh,
Working place, I agree.
Or other training needs, for instance, that council feels like we're just gonna have to be fluid with it and council's wanting additional training in certain fields versus others, we can look at incorporating that. I also put in here just there's like the second last paragraph underneath the background that this says the session would establish council's goals, priorities, and measurable outcomes. That was
That was on page what?
105. Oh, you're.
That's different page number.
83, okay.
Yeah, so just as a dedicated strategic planning session is recommended for early in the new year. So that session would then establish council's goals, priorities, and measurable outcomes. So then that kind of influences what the business plans could look like and just overall budget conversations, keeping in mind that, you know, we're probably just approving an interim budget. So going into the new year after those conversations are held, that could even mold the framework even further. This is just intended for like more of an orientation piece rather than establishing goals and measurables. That's kind of just what I wanted to say.
So this dedicated strategic planning session, would that include like a training from somebody, or you're just saying we want dedicated time set aside to do a strategic plan?
I would do it two parts, but it is recommended you bring in somebody like not within the organization, just so that you can have like, even myself as a CAO, I can have participation with council. So it's best to have it actually facilitated. And then they have a good comparative to use from other municipalities as well. And it ends up being almost not a cookie cutter approach, but they have some framework templates that they can utilize and then tailor it towards this council group. So
Okay, any more discussion? So Councillor Rosachuk, do you feel that you'd like to make a motion on page 83, or would you like me to help, or?
Nope.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, pass?
No.
Pass. Councillor Scarf?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that the town of Smoky Lake accept the CAO's draft 6-month council orientation framework as presented.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Calling the question, the motion is carried. Any voting? Any voting? Yeah. Sorry, hand is quicker than the eye. Do you mind, Tegan, if we just keep going?
Keep
or-
going, please.
Okay, thank you. So then it brings us to, we're on section 9. And thank you, CAO Fighting, for preparing that. I think it gives us, like I said, a good roadmap moving forward. So now we're on the bylaw and policy section, 9.1. It's the bylaw for our operating expenditures for borrowing, and it's standard operating procedure. I don't know that, so we have an option to do all 3 readings, or we can do one and bring it back, or what's the preference?
Usually we always did 3 readings, sorry.
Okay, you're twisting my arm. Let's do 3 readings then.
It's just borrowing bylaw and we, like we said,
Just an operating,
it's
loan.
it's just line of credit for.
Yeah. The recommendation is very well prepared. Thank you for that. And so, should we,
you're gonna want anonymous consent on if you're passing all 3 readings.
Yeah. She's back.
For simple bylaws, it's okay. I have to chime in and say that it's not recommended to do all 3 readings.
Yeah.
This is a simple one, so we're.
do you want me to read that?
So-
You can read it.
Okay, so,
We'll talk about
are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah, Councillor Kudlak has the motion that the town of Smoky Lake give first reading to bylaw number 22-2025, operating expenditure borrowing bylaw for the purpose of authorizing the town of Smoky Lake to borrow for the purpose of financing operating expenditures and establish a line of credit. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? The motion is carried. Myself, I move that the town of Smoky Lake gives second reading to bylaw number 22-2025, operating expenditure borrowing bylaw for the purpose of authorizing the town of Smoky Lake to borrow for the purpose of financing operating expenditures and establish a line of credit. Any discussion? All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. Councillor Chern moves that the town of Smoky Lake give permission for third and final reading to bylaw number 2022. No, did I say that right? 22. not 2022, sorry, 2025, operating expenditure borrowing bylaw for the purposes of authorizing the town of Smoky Lake to borrow for the purpose of financing operating expenditures and the financial line of credit. All in favor? The motion is carried. Unanimous. Unanimous. Thank you. And the last one, Councillor Rosachuk. Should I want me to go ahead or you? Yeah. You're giving me the thumbs up to go ahead? Okay. Councillor Rosachuk moves that the town of Smoky Lake third and final reading to bylaw number 22, 2025, operating expenditure borrowing bylaw for the purpose of authorizing the town of Smoky Lake to borrow for the purpose of financing operating expenditures and establish a line of credit. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. Again, thank you, admin, for preparing this for us and
Credit to
thank you.
Crystal on that.
Yeah, moving on to, we did the snow and ice policy. We're on to section number 10. It's prepared for you. 10.1, the consolidated council report. As you remember, this is only in place until January. We can reevaluate it. So I hope it captured the integrity of what your meetings look like for all of council. And it's kind of a different template. We've never done this before. So I encourage you just to try it out till January and then come back with, or you can give feedback now. See how it goes. Okay. So hearing no feedback, Councillor Spark, do you feel?
I just had a question about the consolidated time at the end there, when you had like, for example, the MPC, you have 2 hours, the 21st, and then 2 hours below. Is that just how long each meeting was?
Sorry, you're in the last column.
Yeah, committee meetings.
Yeah, so if there was 3 people and they both spent an hour, that would be 3 hours, right? So
Okay.
kind
It's
of
like man hours. It's
Yeah.
like-
Man hours, okay, yeah, I was just
Yeah.
trying to understand it.
gives an idea of how the commitment on
It
council.
does have a breakdown of over here in
Yeah, the duration, okay, yeah.
the brackets.
Yeah, so it's not new. I copied it from another municipality. It's new to here. So it can be expanded to include more a narrative, but for now, I think it'll serve the purpose as opposed to not having.
So I just have a question about this. So if we go to a meeting, for example, with whatever committee, and there's something to bring back to council, do you want us to fill in a CAR form and add it to the agenda? Or is there a time where we just say, okay, this in the agenda is reports? And then do we do like a round table? Is there anything from the meetings that you attended in the last month? How would you like to move forward with that as a council?
Well, that's a really good question. What does the rest of council feel?
We used to give committee reports.
Sure.
We did a round table at one time.
Sure.
Became very time consuming.
That sounds like it.
Some people have long lungs.
Yes.
Don't know anybody like that.
But don't you think it'd be better if we just brought something that pertained to Smoky Lake that pertained to us? Cause like the trail, I'm not sitting on the trail. Does it matter to us if they're planting 500 evergreens between Worksburg and Wasatna and they're doing mulching by Glendon? Not at all.
No,
Like, done,
yeah,
move on.
Mhm.
Like, I think if it just pertains to the town of Smoky Lake and our operations, I think we use it.
bingo. So could we put something in the agenda just for that? I don't wanna hear long-winded about all the meetings. That'd be boring and time consuming. But could we have a place where we say like, okay, I had this meeting that pertained to Smoky Lake, this is what came up.
Okay,
So what I did is I wrote out my
like a narrative, yeah.
day-to-day
All wind.
report, and then it's no different than going to AMA.
Alberta Municipality, Stephen.
And what it was is just, first day we showed up, registration. And all that, second day, dealing with committees, dealing with voting,
Yes.
just footnotes of everything all the way down. Whatever, meeting with RCMP, that's,
Or even just questions that affect the
So
the council.
I hear what you're
I
saying.
have an
and-
example.
And I like that. So right now would be a good place. We're talking about the written report. You might see something when you're prepping for the meeting that says, oh, I have a question about this. Now's the time and place to give that. If you want to speak on something in behalf, expand on it.
Or ask questions.
As long as it's pertaining to council
Yes.
meetings and reports.
So I have one example
Go
of
ahead.
this. So I attended the Northern Lights Library System meeting. And part of the meeting was designated roles for their board. So they need policy members for their board. And there is, so within the Northern Lights, they have their own board that deals with policy, deals with whatever it is. And so they needed volunteers for their policy. Nobody was volunteering, so a few of us stepped up to say, okay, we'll volunteer. So I volunteered to be on their policy board. So the Northern Lights Library Board Policy Society is what they call it. Or no, not society, sorry, I have the name in here somewhere. So my question to council is, with remuneration, is that just something that's a volunteer for me? Like I volunteer, which is fine, or is it something that is paid for by council, or is it something that I have to go to Northern Lights and see what their policies are on that? I just want to know if anyone has the answer to that.
Yeah.
Anything is. So what you're gonna have to do, I know you're a newbie
I do, yeah.
and you're gonna have to pick what you wanna do. A lot of the stuff that we do is it's not gratis. What it is you're donating back to the community, the region, and that.
And I'm very happy to do
That's
that.
what
I
happens
wanna
with
know.
this job now. You,
Sorry.
it's just, there's a lot of meetings we go to, yeah, we're not getting paid.
And that's what I wanna know. I'm very passionate about the library. I'm totally fine with volunteering for this committee. But if it is covered in policy that it should be a meeting that is paid for by here or paid for by there, I just wanna know that. I just want clarity around that.
Yeah, it's just, things change. Maybe at one time there was, but things change, just like,
Do you know the answer to it now though? Like if it's a yes or a no, or should we just look into
I
it?
think on your first thing, when you did your first thing, it said whether it was voluntary or paid, right?
So Northern Lights is paid.
So it's
This is a one-off.
It's a
This is a weird one?
This is a one-off, cause it's not,
Okay,
refer it back to Northern Lights if it's a subcommittee and if they're.
It is a
doing
subcommittee.
separate, Yeah.
okay,
a subcommittee.
yeah, I just want a
you
clarification
know,
on that. Thank you.
lots of things have changed. You know,
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep.
Okay, thank you too. Thank you
no,
for
no
that.
different than Ukrainian Christmas.
Okay,
On
so,
7.
hi,
It's not
do you want to say
holiday.
anything about council reports?
Thank you. That was my only
Do
question.
you want to say anything about the council reports?
I'm just gonna sneak over and show her what I have done regarding the council reports, all right?
And we gotta go home.
Yeah, show me,
No,
you can show me after. I'd love to see it.
No, I have nothing.
Anything?
The organizational meetings, everybody was all in the forming state, everything, everybody has new bosses. Moving forward, everybody inherited all the problems, so it's, we're trying to move forward.
Two motions, moving the round table, so it's my turn, a motion to, Town Smoky Direct Administration to send a thank you letter to the RCMP that you met with at the AUMA, or that's the old name, AM, for their time during the meeting consultation, and to what does that sound? For the
Yeah.
time that they took to meet with us, and you, because I was not there, I'd like you to have Deputy Mayor Kodlak sign it on our behalf. Because he was at the
Greatly
meeting.
appreciate.
Yeah,
I would-
I'd appreciate it, letter.
I'll
Thank
remember
you.
your name.
Yeah,
Thank you for administration to set that up for us. Are you okay with that motion, Carly? Calling the question? All in favor, the motion is carried. And just noticing from the council reports that there is some volunteers that went to the Smoky Lake Pumpkin Growers. We should, as a town council, the motion is to direct administration to thank you to the Smoky Lake Pumpkin president and executive for hosting the 35th Pumpkin Way Off and Fair. at a great success, and if they would mind come back to us or get some debriefing information.
Well, yeah, we went through the meeting, basically their budget was going to be presented, this month, but it's delayed.
Because they don't have their financials.
Just,
They didn't have their financials.
Financial.
and thank you for that. It's a huge event, and we, as council, want to acknowledge it. We just, did I say something funny or?
No,
No, it's.
Crystal has to do a lot of work for them beyond.
Christmas,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I just want awareness, the town council, we're new, it was a successful event, I didn't hear any of the debriefing numbers, but there are some agencies that would like that, so that can be brought forward, and then, so two parts to the motion, send a thank you letter on behalf of the town, and ask them, separate motion, we'll vote on this one first, the letter. All in favor? Okay, thank you, and then, direct administration to obtain some of the debriefing information from the 35th annual Pumpkin Fair in terms of attendance and any debriefing information that would be valuable to the town. And they can invite the executive, or they can just get the report. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. Councillor Churn, anything about the reports?
No.
Councillor Rosechuk?
You just want that circulated? Sorry. The debriefing information, just circulated by email, or you want it as an actual? You want it?
Can we bring it
Minutes?
back for December 7th, 16?
Yeah, they have it,
Yeah.
if they have
Was
it,
it discussed at the meeting? Esther or Bruce, you read it?
The pumpkin,
you might know.
they were supposed to have another meeting here last night, but it was postponed.
Yeah,
So-
So to a future meeting. Okay, thank you. There's just other agencies that need that information to move forward for planning their next year's events. Okay. So we're going to go to Councillor Scarf is going to approve 10.1. If that's okay with you, yes, if you're feeling comfortable to make the motion to accept the verbal and written.
I make the motion that the town of Smoky Lake accept the information the mayor and council consolidated report dated October 21st.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. So 10.2 is, are we prepared to defer this or land on two items? Category A, category B? This was the.
10.3, you mean?
10.2. Oh, sorry. 10.2 is it says reports, but it's actually minutes. Is that something that we're moving forward?
Two.
No,
Do you want to supply your minutes?
no,
Okay, so we're.
that's just more BS. We don't need the minutes. If we give her a little report, that's all we need.
So that's not helpful. There's nothing identified in policy. Okay, so moving forward, so the motion is that Town of Smoky Lake omit the council committee reports council committee minutes until such time it's identified in the procedural bylaw to include them. Go ahead, Carly.
Friendly amendment to add agendas also, minutes and agendas.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Okay. It was, I don't even have the background on that, so it wasn't consistent. Previous council was adding them, some weren't, so not every meeting has, it's maybe. Okay, all in favor? Yes. Motion carried. 10.3, two decisions, category A, category B, or defer. Getting late.
I just really like having the committee lists underneath. I like that idea. So that would be category A, but it doesn't speak to the professional photos or not. Can we push this?
Okay, so
To different
yeah,
meetings?
category B is the photos. Okay, so deferred to December 16th for a decision, please.
Are people asking about this? Are they saying, who is our council? We wanna know about them. We wanna.
So the email I sent out today,
I saw.
it has what's on the website currently.
Yeah.
With that, so at least our contact information.
But yes, people work on the office and.
Send them a high school picture and then they'll see if they can identify.
Yeah.
A baby picture, guess what, counselor? They'll know which one is me.
That was the motion, and 10.3, we're deferring it to December 16th. All in favor? The motion is carried. Go ahead and
Can I just add a little bit of information? We just talked about baby pictures. Rhea had her baby today.
Oh, good. Yeah, Sharon said she went into labor last night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
What did she have?
A boy.
This baby was born RJ. His name?
okay, good.
RJ.
So that's
exciting.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
6
so
months, 9
we can talk
ounces.
more on.
Hey,
Great.
this is a
Mom
Okay,
and dad and baby are okay.
Good.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
Brent.
Very important. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah, that goes up to 35 and 36, thank you,
I
Nancy.
like it.
So 11.1, in front of us is a regular, every 4 years, we get this
Yep.
motion, and I think we're all on board to approve it, thank
Oh,
you for
yeah.
preparing
Yep.
this.
Yep.
Who has the motion?
I will, Nestor,
Okay.
whatever.
Okay, so Councillor Chern is gonna make the motion that the
Yep.
town of Smoky Lake
Oh, you
approve.
gonna read all that?
John and Renee.
So,
Okay,
they could probably
Why do we
go
have to do
there.
it all the time?
every 4 years,
Yeah.
just so it's council approved.
So they park where they live, they
Is
park
that
the snow on an empty lot.
No.
It's just so everybody's aware that approval has been given.
The town piles snow there.
No,
or
they
no,
don't.
they
No,
They do
they
in their own
move their own
place.
snow there,
Yeah,
Oh,
because they don't have room.
okay.
not a big deal.
Doesn't it just go into
Very-
their land policy?
But you have to be fast.
Somebody read the
because-
motion.
I'll read it.
Oh, that
Okay,
make motion.
Councillor Chern.
You want me to read it all? The
Has
town of
the
Smoky
town-
Lake approved John and Renee Church and House from their residence driveway located at blah, 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 legal address descriptive on the town of Smoky Lake. Located at legal address for a term of 4 years ending October 31st, 2029. With conditions that the said snowplow does not obstruct road signage located at legal address, area 5 must be cleaned of debris and spring and snow melt to reference the letter received from John and Renee Church in December 20. Did you type all that?
All in favor?
Carried. Read that.
The motion is carried. Thank you.
Can you type that?
We're on 11.2 sponsorship request, page 135. The recommendation, I think we can support based on the following information is included with the 3 schools in the county of Smoky Lake, and I believe it's a good program for $150. I would support the recommendation. Councillor Rosachuk, go ahead.
The town of Smoke Lake provides sponsorship to the Heartland Training and Support Hub, formerly Farm Safety Center, in the amount of $150 for the purpose of providing farm safety education to children attending rural and remote elementary schools in Alberta, to be funded from the 2025 operating budget entitled Grants to Individuals and Organizations, in reference to a letter from Jordan Jensen, Executive Director of Farm Safety Center, dated November 18th, 2025. 1925.
All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. And so one more in 11.3 to approve the action taken. Thank you, administration, for doing that. Councillor Scarf, would you have the motion on page 147, please?
Yes, I would, that the town of Smoky Lake approve action taken by administration in providing the Smoky Lake Chamber of Commerce with silent auction item donated valued at $100. In response to the sponsorship request letter received on November 17th, 2025 for the community Christmas party on December 5th, 2025, which was awesome. In accordance with policy number A012023, contributions to non-profit organizations and individuals. Okay,
All in favor?
One breath.
Carried. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a time check, 10:46. Would council think to defer 13.1?
9:46.
Sorry, okay. Sorry, would you consider deferring 13.1 and the 2 under 14 to tomorrow night's meeting?
No, keep going.
13.1 IT, please. Is that the decision of everyone? Okay, I'm not going past 10 o'clock. Okay, 9:47. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Should be good.
Who wants to speak to this?
I can start it off. So it was recognized that an IT training session would be recommended to do in a group setting. Again, this is totally at the discretion of council. I think it'd be beneficial if we could have some granted time to just sit down as a group and go through using our Outlook, even our phones, if there's, people using the emails on the phones, using our SharePoint, PDF forms, since we have a couple new tools that we're wanting to try out with council. So I was able to actually talk with the county, and they are willing to provide us with their IT. I'm not sure the position title, their IT support person would be willing to facilitate that with us, just as a good neighbor kind of thing. So if that's something that this group would like us to organize, I just wanted to look at some potential dates.
Personally,
Pretend,
okay, go ahead.
could we potentially have it just a little bit more, less informal? Like what I would like is just a meeting set aside where Carly or whoever, you just seem to be my go-to girl, could just be like, here's how you use your phone, and not this like official presentation that.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
That was kind of more my thought, and just have that one-on-one instruction. It's beyond what Carly has the capacity to deliver, especially if it's one-on-one and one-off. So as a group, I think we could all get the same kind of walkthroughs, and I'm sure if you have a question, somebody else in the room does too. So that was kind of my train of thought on that, but whatever council needs,
I
we
agree
will.
with her, except I'm like 30 years older, so I'm absolutely hopeless to this thing, but I can pull emails off my phone.
Mhm.
But I mean, if you're gonna get me, I'll be honest, every meeting you're gonna have to set up my computer, because I can't function all through that. So and I won't learn it in 4 years.
You will give yourself more credit.
Fire that up every night, within the week, you'll be a position. Right.
Nestor did it, you can do it.
Well, Nestor started
I
a
got
certain
one ways to
distance.
go. Like, I can't compose on this, like, stuff like that, like, it's gonna come. But the more you use it, it's just like,
Yeah.
Do we vote on this? So it won't be like an official, like, let's watch a presentation, just having IT in here to show us how to use stuff.
Yeah, I think there'll be a couple elements that they'll wanna walk you through, like the SharePoint, I think that's
Yeah, that'd be
definitely
good.
applicable to
Yeah.
everybody. But other than that, they can just come in, and they did the same thing with their county council, and they're willing to provide that for us.
Yeah.
As a helping hand. I did try to get Core in here, they're our IT company, but it's more challenging to coordinate with them as they are in Edmonton, so.
Okay, does everyone want to come in earlier on the 16th, or what's the timeline into January, or
Can I look?
Yeah, they didn't say any specific time frame, so I think I was going to suggest if that could work before another already scheduled meeting. So that would
16
work
works for me earlier.
4 or
next week
5
I'm
p.m.
gone, so whatever,
is it till January, or what's?
whatever. No, 16th is good, but next week I'm gone. I don't know.
16th at
16th, we start
5
at
o'clock, or-
6. We start earlier at 5.
I can check with them too, I don't know like what if they're okay to send somebody after hours, I don't like,
Maybe you should check with him.
yeah, so maybe sometime between 4 and 6, I could suggest
Or
that.
drop in?
16th,
Yeah,
will you be sending that out?
Do you want a motion or not?
It's not gonna be a drop-in, she's just gonna ask them if they have availability between 4 and 6. But it's gonna be an official meeting.
Thank you. So would you like a motion, or just?
if council is fine with that not being considered a part of a meeting time, like if you're coming, it's voluntary. Unless you want it as a council approved,
No.
then we're okay. I don't.
So, 13.1, is there anything more you'd like to add at this time?
Oh,
I can kickstart it.
council's budget for electronics. When you purchase these laptops and all that, for me, I do things differently. I need to have hotspots, or I have to have continuity wherever I go in some cases. And I didn't feel it was fair to council to burden them with the costs of a better system or whatever. I got lots of data on my phone. I can link that to my laptop and use that. But I was looking at maybe a different electronic device. And I was just wondering if council would a consideration to what the budgeted for each other counselor to put towards device that I purchase.
Council? So we ordered 5 laptops, and so to recap, you're suggesting that you would like to supply your own equipment and take that.
It's just a little bit, it is a better system for me, what I have. And it was just
So we're talking just about the hardware right now, right? Just the laptop.
the device itself, yeah.
Go ahead, Molly.
Just to recognize, the council supplied laptops are connected to our IT infrastructure protection system. So CORE is the IT group that installs virus protection. They have the ability to remote in if there's issues with council's laptops, those kinds of things. Even myself as a CAO, I cannot use a personal laptop to conduct work business because there's always a threat to our information. So there's 2 things here. I think recognizing that if a councillor purchases a personal device, it stays as a personal device unless it's connected to the town's software or whatever the terminology is. And then it would be deemed a town device.
Okay, so we're talking about 2 things. First, the hardware, a laptop, and then the connection to the local area network so that we're all on the same platform.
Yeah,
And
so
and-
in my opinion, I wouldn't want to be tied into CORE's system. So I would opt out on that. Because the thing is, I pull all my emails and everything from the town just on this device.
Oh, yeah, me too.
So
So then, but you're at risk for like any virus or anything like that. So then you're not part of the network.
I'm at risk.
But Dan, you're gonna be very, very hard.
Why would I be at
in the next 4 years?
Because you sign into the network. So there's protection and firewalls and everything with security. So that
Why would the town send me stuff with viruses?
it's external threats.
And as part of our agreement with CORE, our IT company, they do provide service to council devices. It's all integrated into one system, so.
But I do open my agenda on my phone.
So using Outlook through an Outlook-based app is on your phone is different than going on and logging in under your
Oh.
username and you're part of our
I see what you
network.
mean. Okay, good. I was just worried about, I was like,
Yeah, the first part of the conversation, sorry, I didn't mean to cut.
no, you didn't.
First- I
You didn't cut me off at
The
all.
first part of the conversation was about the laptop. So I
Yeah.
thought, so let's talk about that. So we spent X amount of dollars, we got 5 laptops. Councillor Kudlak said he would rather have his own equipment. Are we willing to reimburse him for that amount? Because now we have
I don't want anything more than what the rest council had. So
okay, so then we don't want to reimburse you?
I don't want to be reimbursed for the whole. The one I bought, because
Okay.
it's a little bit overpriced compared to.
But if it's your computer, why should we pay for it? I mean, if I wanna bring my own, whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying if there was money budgeted for each council
Like an allowance.
allowance.
But these don't belong to us, these belong to the.
These will go back when we're done.
Yeah,
Well,
in 4 years' time, these will be
You
ancient
can-
anyway, so.
No, you can keep them after.
You could keep them, they just get cleared. We have a policy on that, but we do not have a policy on any of these other things. And this is why it's
I brought it to the table.
Yeah, and I can't make that decision as a CAO, so I
You
did
should
ask.
make the policy that these go back to, these are town property.
Well, that's already, the policy exists. So this is where this conversation started at the beginning of the meeting when we talked about what was scheduled in this, or what was allotted in the 26,000. If each counselor had a budget and it wasn't, it was a lump sum, we found out. So we paid for 5 laptops. We can gift it to the CAO maybe. I don't know if there's a need for another laptop, and then reimburse whatever the allotted amount of 5 that we paid for was 6,000 some dollars in that printout. And so then Councillor Kodlak is doing his own thing, but I'll meet you halfway. I think we could look at that amount and he could put that towards his own laptop, and then he doesn't get the buyback program at the end. But part of a requirement of council is you connect to the local, to the core, to the services. And What did you do last time when you were on council?
I had my own laptop,
Mhm.
or I had the laptop.
Mhm.
It was with a SIM card in it.
Yeah.
I had continuity anywhere I went. It was just like, I didn't have no problems. I didn't have to log into Wi-Fi wherever I went. And that's what the town provided.
Okay.
And the thing is,
A SIM card.
That-
oh,
yeah, it's just like,
SIM card.
yeah, you can use it anywhere, so you didn't have to log into any website. So anyways, the thing is, it worked very good with me when I was on the road. And I had to places that I didn't have any Wi-Fi. So now the town doesn't supply that system.
But you see, like Molly just said, like, all these have like superior security, so if yours does not have the same as this, you may put us in jeopardy.
No, I won't put you in jeopardy.
For the
It'll
town,
be the other way around.
town.
No,
I-
yours too.
So,
But mine is, my
Cause it's
question is
no
like,
different
I
than
only
using my
use this
phone.
here and at home.
So do I.
So like, where are you wanting, cause like I use my own computer for everything else at home. Or everything else in my life, but this is only for here and when I'm at home working on town stuff.
So I was just looking into getting a different type of computer just for. But it's up to you to decide. If you don't wanna do it, that's fine with me either.
I just,
So,
I don't have a problem with it, it's just the security aspect of it. Cause we can't put our town, my school board, Christ the Redeemer School Board in Okotoks got hacked and they lost millions of dollars. So 15
so
million was
you're
the.
telling me I can get hacked over this phone
Okay,
and
this is-
feed back into on my email?
So I'm gonna say, you have two options. You could put a motion on the floor. I am gonna ask that we can go 5 minutes after 10 tops, not to go into 4 hours. We're gonna defer everything else to tomorrow. I would like to accommodate your needs, but I think there's some positive and negative with both of them. I agree that if you want your own equipment, you should be allotted whatever the rest have. Yeah, and I'm okay with that, but I think you should still consider connecting to what's provided in terms of core.
Assuming they can. I haven't seen your tablet done, so I don't know. I'm sorry, Counselor Cordova.
I'm pretty sure it's everything's.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They made me exchange my laptop because I didn't have a specific version of Windows. So there's more to this than I can answer tonight as well. We can't return that laptop, that much we know, because it's already been activated.
That's why I asked the question when we were getting these laptops right from the beginning of, can I get that one with?
So respectfully though, I did hold up this laptop in the organizational meeting and asked if council was okay. I just wanted to let council know that we did make that decision to go forward with the 5. So I don't want my hand slapped because we can't return a laptop at this point.
I didn't agree with that. I told you that earlier.
Did we vote on it?
Okay.
It was at the org meeting,
We
so.
can have a motion.
Yeah.
That's okay. So can we table this tomorrow?
Sure, let everybody think about it. Doesn't matter to me.
I'm gonna move a motion to table 13.1 IT until,
13.2, 14.
and we're going to defer 13.2, public works, town tour, 14.2 and 14.3 until tomorrow night, please. Thank you. That's the motion, all in favor, motion is carried. I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 10:01 PM. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night, see you tomorrow.